Yo, Adrian! We did it! Oh my God. Not many times in my life has a basketball team brought me to tears. This is something special going on. This is something really, really special that we're witnessing right now. And I don't know if I have the words for it because, you know, I've given speeches on here before about how, why we watch sports and the things that keep bringing us back amidst all the losing. And this is it. This is it. You want to see something that is not supposed to be real. You want to see something that is not supposed to be possible. You want to see Jaylen Brunson. You want to see Jaylen Brunson show up on your franchise's doorstep one day and say, I could do this. I got this. We got this. Because with Jaylen Brunson, it's never about Jaylen Brunson. It's always about the team, which is why for the first time, I think, since I've seen him here in New York, when Alan Hahn, shout out to Alan Hahn, was doing that interview after this emotional win and asked Jaylen Brunson about, like, this was, you just got named to your first All-Star team today. And then he's trying to think of the answer, the correct answer, right? To that question that, is, of course, going to deflect praise from him because this is not a player who ever accepts praise. It is always, who can I praise? Who else can I give attention to? Who else can I make feel good about their efforts and about what they contributed tonight? And then as he's trying to do that and think of the words, the entire crowd, which has stuck around at this point until after the final buzzer, is chanting MVP at the top of their lungs. And I think for a moment there, he lost it. And just imagine being Jaylen Brunson. Imagine being a guy who, you're obviously underappreciated and underthought of and under-recruited and the whole thing. And you go to college and you quite literally prove that you are the best. He proved it in college. He proved, I'm the best. I'm the best as there is. Want me to win a national championship? Sure, I got it. I could lead a team to the pinnacle. And what does it get him? Gets him sitting there watching as every NBA team passes him over for someone else that they thought better of. That's all right. Okay, fine, sure. Just keep working. And that's all he's done ever since the day he stepped foot into the league. So how appropriate is it that on this night that he ascends, not to the mountaintop, because we all know where Jaylen Brunson wants to take this team. Because, again, it's not about him. It's about where he wants to take this team. We know what his mountaintop is. But how appropriate is it on a night that he checks off a very important box on his journey and gets named to his first All-Star team, that he truly, truly brings the Rocky story all the way home? And that's, what other story is there? What bigger underdog have we had in this sport that has come along over the years? Second round, I mean, seriously, like second round pick. Look, there's been great second round picks in the modern era. Like, I'm not talking about when there were 8 teams in the league, like when Willis Reed got drafted in the first pick of the second round and he was like whatever he was, the 8th pick overall. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about modern era. Like, we've had great second round picks. Dennis Rodman was a second round pick. Draymond Green was a second round pick. Obviously, the most famous one now is Nikola Jokic. But Nikola Jokic, I mean, you're talking about a guy who was overseas, and even with our recruiting and our scouting and the whole thing and all the information we have, he was still a guy that people, I don't think, had any real idea about. Jaylen Brunson, we saw him on a national stage. We saw him deliver his team to the promised land and still falls to the second round. And then work your way back up, Okay, what's my reward? My team's not going to offer me a 4-year, $55 million extension. Okay, I got to go prove it. Goes out, proves it in the middle of his 4th year. Against their better judgment, they go back to the negotiating table. Hey, Mark, I'll tell you what, we'll do it. We'll give you a second chance to sign us to the deal. If you sign it to us, sign it right now. Nope. Sorry. Play out the rest of the year. We may want to trade you. Yeah, really? And then we saw what happened in the playoffs, and then we know what happened from there. And in some ways, it has all led up to this. And it's not over yet. I mean, that's why I think this night feels so special, because it is just getting started for a team that went into this game obviously missing. I mean, geez, start with Mitchell Robinson. He's been gone for almost 2 months. Missing all-star Julius Randle. We're going to pay a lot of attention to Jaylen Brunson tonight, and I feel bad. And talk about appropriate. It is kind of appropriate, because who always gets the short end of the stick? It's Julius Randle, right? Do not forget about the fact that this is Julius Randle's 3rd All-Star appearance for the New York Knickerbockers. 3rd All-Star appearance in 4 years. Go back and check your history, kids. Not that many players have ever had a 4-year stretch where they made 3 All-Star teams for the Knicks. It has not happened a lot. In recent years, Melo did it, obviously. Patrick Ewing did it. Michael Ray Richardson, forgotten about guy, had some issues which prevented him from reaching his peak that he could have had. He did it. And then before that, you have to go back to the good old days. You have to go back to DeBusschere and Clyde. But like Monroe, Earl the Pearl never did it. Bernard King, again, due to injuries, didn't do it. Sprewell, Houston, these guys didn't do it. You have to, it's been very few guys since you have to go really back to the early 60s and the 50s, when, again, there were very few teams and very few players. It's easier to make the All-Star team back then. So that accomplishment from Julius can't go without significant recognition, and we will recognize it tonight, I hope. But so without Mitch, without Julius, without OG Anunoby, who has defined their character as a defense-first team from the moment that he got there, and yet you look up and but the last 2 games, right? It's the last 2 games, like, okay. Who were they against, though, right? Charlotte, awful Charlotte team, a very potent Utah team, but at the end of a road trip, but still a very potent Utah team that the Knicks held to the second fewest points they had put up in about 7 weeks. But coming into tonight, it was the number 1 team. I mean, I know there's been a lot of talk about how the offensive numbers need to be taken with several grains of salt. I get that. It's totally fair. They're still the number 1 offense in the league as of, well, maybe they won't be after tonight. But we thought after the first quarter, well, this is where they're going to miss OG, right? This is where they're going to miss OG Anunoby, because the score was 36-26, and the Knicks were on pace to give up 140 to this team for the second time this season. And wouldn't you know it, much like the last time, here were the Knicks, extremely shorthanded. Oh, I forgot to mention Quentin Grimes. Quentin Grimes also not in. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 rotation players. 4 very important rotation players. You don't think Quentin Grimes would have made a nice difference tonight? Forget OG Anunoby and Julius Randle. I mean, and this is what they were facing. Get hit in the mouth out of the gate, and then what do over the ensuing 3 quarters? Hold the Pacers to 22, 26, and then in the final quarter, 21 points for a total of 105. I'm fairly certain the Pacers maybe Andrew could look it up and see how many games this season the Pacers have scored fewer points. And I get it. Halliburton, 21 minutes. Fine. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it tonight. I do not want to hear it tonight on a night when the Knicks were missing all the guys that they were missing, and when the Pacers got off to that start. And, oh, by the way, this is a night that the Knicks and this has been a little bit of a bugaboo all year. They've been a very good 3-point shooting team this season by any metric. But when they are bad, whoo boy, can you smell it from a ways away? The Knicks finished this game shooting 8 of 38. 8 of 38 from 3-point range. Overcome loss of key players, overcome a big first quarter deficit, overcome not being able to throw the ball in the ocean from the beach. And then, of course, and I thank the good Lord, and you should thank whatever God you believe in, that the refs did not end up deciding this game, because that's perhaps the biggest thing that this Knicks team had to overcome. And look, you know me, I'm not a blame the refs guy. I will never be a blame the refs guy. It's not in my personality to be so. Like, that dude's gonna, Jaylen Brunson is gonna wake up tomorrow. I mean, I'm joking about the Rocky thing. He's going to wake up tomorrow morning looking like he's been in a freaking 15-round fight. That's what his face is. I'm like actually frightened. Forget cut me Mick, cut me Tibbs, cut me Tom, or cut me Dad. It was, and that was just the most egregious non-call in a night full of just some of the absolute worst refereeing you will ever see. Again, I thank the good Lord that we do not have to sit here, and we could talk about it, obviously, but that poor refereeing, egregiously poor refereeing, did not wind up ruining what was an incredible evening all around. So, I mean, what do you say about this team? It's 9 straight wins. They've lost 2 games since they made this trade. Something about that trade, and it's not just bringing in OG Anunoby. I don't know what's going on. Something's in the water over there. You know it when you see it. This happens. This happens sometimes. And I'm not going to say that this is completely out of left field for this franchise since Leon Rose and Tom Thibodeau came aboard to kind of guide this ship, because there was something special in the water in the We Here season. And there was something very special in the water last season, which seems like a million years ago now. But like, we all remember how we felt when this team looked like, I mean, it was on the way to sending Tom Thibodeau to a retirement home early in the season, came back, won 8 straight, faced some more adversity, traded for Josh Hart, 9 straight, and they kind of marched all the way from there. Maybe I'm being caught up in the moment. Something about this feels different. Something about what we're witnessing right now feels a little bit different. And yes, I think it does mostly have to do with the fact that Jaylen Brunson is ascending to what I imagine how ridiculous. And I think I have to put myself in the category of people that I'm about to excoriate, because I've had doubts. I've had doubts since he got here. Like, yeah, okay, this is great. This is awesome. But like, the best player on a title team? Think about how, first of all, there haven't been that many players in the history of the league that have actually literally been the best player on a title team. There have been players that could have been. Charles Barkley could have been the best player on a title team easily. He wasn't. But how many guys, really could have been? And because of that history, I've had my doubts. But imagine being someone that had a national platform and has said, like, this season, like recently, oh yeah, too small. Or you're just like, yeah, I think they need another. Like, to be that dismissive of a guy with this heart, forget the talent. I mean, the talent's fucking outrageous. What did he score? 40 points tonight? Talent's outrageous. But with this heart is, so I do think it's mostly Brunson, but you look up and down the roster, and so just for example, tonight, I mean, where do I go after Brunson? There's a few places I kind of want to go, and this is not to, like, Josh Hart did not make a field goal tonight. That dude played his ass off, had a lot of big moments on defense, ended up with 12 rebounds. Like, he found a way to contribute. Dante DiVincenzo shot 8 of 26 from the field. Not his best night, and yet they kind of needed his gravity on offense. Malachi Flynn only played 7 minutes. I thought it was an important 7 minutes. Jericho Sims, he had, like, his moments were pretty good. But if we're not talking about Jaylen Brunson tonight, and before I move on to get into everybody's comments, and I'm sure it's gonna be a lot of them. Three guys need to be singled out, and I don't even know which one to say first. You know what? Let's, in no particular order. I'll start with Hartenstein. 19 rebounds on the evening, 6 assists, by the way, which not only led the team, it was twice as much as anybody else on the Knicks. The Knicks, I mean, you want to talk about not exactly the cleanest offensive evening. The Knicks had 15 assists tonight, 15 on 41 made field goal. And Isaiah Hartenstein, your starting center, had 6 of them. That tells you all you need to know. 19 offensive rebounds, 8 on the offensive glass. And, you know, and I didn't disagree with him at the time. Benji tweeted it out when he had that scary kind of fall into the Knicks bench. Like, you might want to take Isaiah Hartenstein out at that. You know, it looked like he may have twisted the Achilles. For that dude to come back and play 36 minutes when he had that moment there, I forget when it was in the game that he dove and it looked like it might have been bad. And for him to finish the game, forget what he actually did and the contributions he made, and just being everywhere at every moment that they needed him to be. Incredible stuff. That's Isaiah Hartenstein. Miles McBride, Deuce. Again, at times, an afterthought. I joked about it on Twitter. If you had Deuce McBride scoring 11 straight points and 14 of 17 points for the pivotal stretch in this game when the Knicks were, and because again, the Knicks, they were pushing that. They were pushing. They were trying to climb up the hill. And it seemed like every time they got it to 5, 6, 7, 8 around there, the Pacers would hit a 3, or the Pacers would or the Knicks would miss 8 threes in a row, or whatever. I mean, at one point they missed, I wrote it down. Knicks missed 17 threes in a row in this game. And even if you take away those 17 threes, they still shot a crappy percentage from downtown. That's all you need to say about this. Take away 17 threes in a row, and the Knicks were 8 of 21. That's not all that great. It's fine. But Deuce, that scoring barrage, and I thought also the defensive intensity when he checked into that game, I thought the defensive intensity changed a little bit. And I think they needed that. I think he is that galvanizing force. I'm not comparing Deuce McBride to Emmanuel Quickley. These are very different players. To be very clear, Emmanuel Quickley is a point guard. Deuce McBride is a linebacker crossed with an NBA wing in a 6'1" or 6'2" or whatever he is package. I'm not really sure there's another player out there quite like Deuce McBride. And now he's learned how to shoot. So that's fun and that's exciting. And they do not obviously win this game without Deuce McBride. And then last and certainly not least, Precious Achiuwa, man. 43 minutes. 43 minutes for a guy who, when he got here, you could argue that he was like the 4th string center in the healthy road if everybody's healthy. After Mitch, after Hartenstein, after Sims. Like that's, and 4th-year guy, 3rd team, not probably looking great for his prospects to sign a nice rookie extension this summer. And through his first 10 games here, there was nothing he did that was particularly impressive. Now, granted, his opportunities were few and far between. And then as injuries started to pile up and as opportunities arose, guess who has reminded everybody, there's a reason I was the 20th pick in the draft. And I was taken by an organization that tends to know what they're doing when it comes to drafting players in Miami, and then was picked by Masai Ujiri, who, he doesn't always miss. He doesn't always hit, rather, but has some good talent evaluation skills himself. And it kind of hadn't worked out. And I was going back and looking at some of his stats over the last few years. Like, you look at his numbers during stretches where he started games for the Raptors. And it's like, he's produced. Like, the skill is clearly there. And now he's getting an opportunity. And in those 43 minutes, what did he do? 16 rebounds, 8 on the offensive glass, matching Isaiah Hartenstein. How about 4 steals and 2 blocks for Precious Achiuwa? And did Pascal Siakam have his number early on in this game in a matchup of former teammates? Absolutely. Pascal had his way with him. But Pascal Siakam, I don't remember what Pascal had at halftime, but I don't think Pascal Siakam had many points in the second half because Precious Achiuwa just got better and better and better and more locked in and more engaged, and he was everywhere. And I think next to Brunson, he's the story of this game because perhaps more than anybody from tonight, I think Precious Achiuwa epitomizes what this Knicks team is about. And really, and this is where the connective tissue lies between this season and past seasons, where they just don't know how to quit. They don't think it's a damn show. They think it's a damn fight. Yes. Every night, the Knicks step on the court. It doesn't matter who they're missing. It doesn't matter who they're playing. They don't think it's a show. They think it's a damn fight. And tonight, Pacers might have thought when they stepped foot on the court in that first quarter that this was going to be a time to put on the show at the Garden, and didn't quite work out that way. Funny how that happens. And that's this team. That's this team in a nutshell. And it's a testament to everybody in the organization, up and down, for really, again, creating a culture from, forget creating a culture from scratch. You had to excavate like tons of toxic waste and replace it with good stuff, because that sort of shit that had built up over the years does not go away overnight. You can't just let it sit there. You have to clean that shit out. And, it's so appropriate. I wrote about it today that yesterday was the 5-year anniversary of the Kristaps Porzingis trade, because, look, people have a lot of strong opinions about that trade, and I don't want to talk about it right now, but, if there was ever a trade that you looked at and you're like, man, something's probably not right over there with whatever happened that led to that moment. And for now, 5 years later, for us to be here and to have, again, 2 All-Stars, absolutely wild stuff. It's tough to talk about. But this is fun stuff. I just hope everybody's enjoying it. Again, it's why we watch sports. So I think that's it. I'll get Andrew Claudio up here. He could let me know if I missed anything. That's great. Are you wearing sunglasses to block out a blackout? It's fantastic. Jeremy, break it down.
Here's the deal, Jonathan.
Yes.
We're having some fun.
We are
watching this basketball team.
We are.
I believe we've waited our entire lives, at least since the 90s, to root for a basketball team like this. And I echo your sentiments. I don't hear anybody with a qualifier. I know how Tyrese Halliburton and that soft-ass game we got to watch tonight. Okay? I know he only played 22 minutes. I shouldn't say that. Regardless, real superstars play 40 minutes. Okay?
Halliburton is awesome, and
those pyramid schemes assists that he gets over in Indiana. I see you. Get this weak-ass team out of here. I'm sorry. We're on 6.5 basketball players. Evil Dante played tonight.
He was good.
Halliburton, he was good. Think about that. This very mid basketball team that we had to take care of tonight. Get them up out of here. They're behind us, very behind us. Here's the deal.
Yeah.
Here is the perspective we need, Knicks fans. We like to look at scoreboards and we're like, I'll settle for this and that. Celtics lost tonight. We're 5 out of first.
Oh, my goodness. Here we go.
That's the perspective.
I mean, look.
How sweet it is, John. How sweet it is.
I'm going to go in a slightly different direction. Not different direction, but I want to say this. We could have some fun at Halliburton's expense tonight. Please. I would love to. I did not think I could.
John, soft.
I did not think I could ever dislike a player as much as I disliked Reggie Miller. Hallie's up there, and of course he plays for the fucking Pacers. And maybe it's part of the fact that he plays for the Pacers, which is why I dislike him so much. I I am not looking forward to facing that dude in Indiana for the foreseeable future. I think we're gonna have a lot of great battles, great wars with that team. But the reason I want to spin in a different direction is to say this: this Eastern Conference is a bear, and for the Knicks to have emerged and are now in the 2 spot or almost in the 2 spot, half game back at the 2 spot with a like very obviously a big time Celtics team. A very talented Bucks team. Let's agree that they are very talented. Sixers team, I'm sure that'll come up tonight. We'll see what lies in store for them. And then these Cavs, who I think, did they win tonight? I had the game on. I don't even see if they won. They were neck and neck with Memphis. I'm pretty sure they pulled it out. But like a Cavs team,
won by 7. Cavs won by 7.
Cavs teams that refuse to lose, and this Pacers team, which like this Pacers team is good. That's the thing; they're a good team. And we haven't even talked about the Miamis and the Orlandos of the world. This is a really good Eastern Conference. And for the Knicks to have done what they've done amidst this environment, this here's the thing, their dirty little secret about the We Here season. Like, there were a couple good teams at the top, and then it was like, okay, you could slide right in there because there's some room. There's some growth opportunities here in the Eastern Conference of 3 years ago. This is not that East. So what the Knicks are doing right now, everybody just needs to take extraordinarily seriously.
John, not only is it not that East, these are not those Knicks.
No.
Because down a defensive player of the year, runner-up as of right now, the second best odds, OG Anunoby in defensive player of the year, wasn't playing tonight. 3-time All-Star, Julius Randle, wasn't playing tonight. Quentin Grimes, solid rotation piece, wasn't playing tonight. Malachi Flynn, Evil Dante can only get 7 minutes. We had Jericho Sims playing significant minutes. Didn't matter. Because we had Jaylen Brunson. We turned Precious Achiuwa into a 16 rebounds. This guy wasn't in a rotation a month ago, John. Wasn't looked at around across 3 different teams with 3 good head coaches as a 4.
I wanted to trade him for Andre Drummond.
Yeah, that's where we were. And now he's like getting important minutes in crunch time. My goodness. Knicks culture is a thing. Like who knows? This team is eventually going to lose a game, I think. I'm just going to say, I think. I'm not going to say they are. They are. I think. I thought they were going to lose tonight. When I saw the injury report, I was like, oh, okay, so tonight's the loss, right?
This was a schedule loss. Yep.
Speaking of which, right, we've been the Nuggets had a schedule loss. What are you talking about? Miami's playing poorly. Charlotte, you got to take into consideration Gordon Hayward's not playing. They just traded Rozier. Utah's in the last game of a road trip. How about the Knicks being shorthanded? Let's see what they look like when they have all the reasons to lose and they still win.
The lineup, it just made me think of it when you mentioned Sims, and this is not to disparage, and obviously this is not to disparage. Nobody gets disparaged tonight. Everybody gets praised. But like you just mentioned Sims, it made me think at one point they had a lineup out there with, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Malachi Flynn, Deuce McBride, Jericho Sims, Josh Hart, and Precious Achiuwa. I think those were the 5. And I was watching them, and they were fighting tooth and nail with this Pacer team, trying to get back and stay in this game, get back in this game. And I'm like, there's a very real possibility that 4 of the 5 players we're watching right now are not going to be in the playoff rotation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like that's a thing that could happen. And they're just fighting and clawing and scrapping. And that's your culture right there. It's not what Jaylen Brunson is doing. Jaylen Brunson's a super duper mega star MVP candidate. Like, yes, he helps set the culture, but your culture that's when your culture is tested. That's when your culture is proven, you know? So incredible stuff.
I agree with you, man. This was honestly the most impressive of the 9 because of how shorthanded they were, because of how good. Like, I actually got like a lot of respect for Nembhard now. Like, that Pacer team, that offense just finds buckets left and right. You know,
until the fourth quarter,
and not for nothing, like you hinted at it, it's very easy to get buckets when you're playing 8 on 5. Okay, my goodness, this sport and they're zebras. Like I was ready for Tibbs to get tossed at a certain point, and then Jaylen Brunson lost tonight. Guess what? You got to take both of them, Indiana, because unless you blind him completely, and then I still think he's probably going to get an and 1. All I know is this is a fun basketball team to watch. This is a reason to jump out the window, and the Knicks are a safe bet every night to give you a great effort, which is why you need to take advantage of all your safe bets with the fine folks over at Prize Picks. Go ahead, Johnny.
I love it. Go to prizepicks.com/KFS and please use code KFS for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks is daily fantasy sports made easy. Anything up to 100, they're gonna match it. They're just gonna give it to you. Here, take our money. It's a much more fun way to enjoy the sport, whether it's enjoying the Knicks, whether it's enjoying other games, whether it's enjoying other sports, cross sport bets, any sorts of things you want. All you have to do is pick more or less, and that's it. It's so easy to do. So tonight, our betting and sweating picks, which Andrew is going to get up here momentarily, started with GMAC as I maximize my screen so as not to look like an older man. I am an old man already, peering into the camera. We had GMAC going Josh Hart over 8 rebounds, which Josh Hart was kind enough to get because he got 12. So great job by you, GMAC, noting that for a shorthanded Knicks team, that was probably going to be easy money. XJ went with more than 20.5 points for Pascal Siakam. Talk about a bad beat. It looked like Pascal was getting a 30 tonight because he was having his way. Did you see? Can you look up what he had at halftime? Because I'm fairly certain it was a nice number. Fred always has the halftime tweets. So maybe check his Twitter feed.
I got you.
So XJ, bad beat there. Next up, Sean with a W. Tyrese Halliburton went I guess this was a consideration of the minutes limit. Under 28.5 points, rebounds, and assists. And Andrew's giving me a face, which means I probably under 20 and a half, 28 and a half.
This hit under 28 and a half. It had no consideration of the minutes limit. This was an agenda bet to be like, we're hating on Halliburton. He's going to get under 28 and a half.
Honestly, though, I wouldn't put it past Halliburton to get over 28 and a half in 21, 22, 23, 24 minutes, something around there. And he went way less. Look, and by the way, Halliburton, 22 minutes, he was a +5 in those 22 minutes. It's not like he was a +15 in those 22 minutes and the Knicks won, by 2 because they outscored the Pacers by 17 in the minutes he didn't play. It was a +5,
He stinks. Next up.
Last but not least, Mensa Dante DiVincenzo over 15.5 points. Dante, I can't wait to hear his post-game availability. He somehow clawed and scrapped his way to 20 points in this game, despite going 8 for 26 from the field and 4 of 16 from 3. I don't know how he did it. And by the way, one other thing, because we haven't given him enough praise. How many guards this year, or maybe a better way to ask it was, when is the last time a guard in the NBA dropped 40 points? Maybe you could do a little quick stat head search. Dropped 40 points while making 1 or 0 3-pointers. And of course, the 1 3-pointer that Jaylen Brunson made was one of the biggest shots of the game. Key fourth quarter 3-pointer that tied the game. That was the tying one after my God, how many attempts? That's why you thought the Knicks were not going to be able to pull this one out, because they had so many attempts to go up on so many possessions where they would get multiple offensive rebounds. They would have 3 shots on the same possession to go up, and they could not get one to go down. And then finally Brunson gets that 3 to go down. It's only 3 of the game. Great stuff.
The last guard to do it. So Embiid and Giannis have just gone like back and forth on 40 points, 1 3-point field goal. The last guard is Jimmy Butler a guard to you?
No.
All right, then it's Russell Westbrook.
Oh, that's a good call. When was that?
2015. Did it twice. Once in October, once in March, and then there's a bunch of Kobe Bryants.
So then it's been 9 years since a guard got 40 with 1 or fewer field goals. That's a great stat.
Yep.
Okay.
So that for the newsletter. Shout out Prize Picks. Once again, shout out to the fine folks at Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com/KFS. Use promo code KFS for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy. Just a quick programming note. This Saturday, please join us at T-Squared Social, as we can officially say, as we keep the winning streak going, hopefully. I'm going to shout out Alex, KFS patron and Substack subscriber, who said we should cancel the event so the KFS jinx doesn't end the losing streak. Way too far past that point, Alex. So we will be at our watch party on Saturday night in the city at T Squared Social, which is at 7 East 42nd Street in New York City, which is quite literally walking distance. I mean, around the corner from Grand Central Station. So join us there if you'd like to. First 50 guests get a free beer presented by Michelob Ultra at the party. There's going to be a pregame party from 6:30 to 8:30 where we'll hang out in their duck pin bowling area and throughout the restaurant. Shout out to everybody watching live. We have 1,700 people. We got up to 1,900 at one point. I think it's time that we jump into the super chats.
Let's do it.
Mr.
I
Mack.
can't wait to do this. This is, again, a special night. All right. Who starts us off tonight? Drum roll, please. Baltimore Corey. Jaylen Brunson, born to play basketball. Mike Breen. It's moments like that. I mean, you want to talk about MVPs? You want to talk about Hall of Famers? You want to talk about the best of the best of the best? It didn't even matter. It doesn't even matter to me if Mike Breen's been sitting on that one since the day Brunson got signed. To make that call in that spot, oh my God. Like, that's why he's the best. That's why he's the best, and there's nobody close. Jaylen Brunson, born to play basketball. How do you pull that out there? Baltimore Corey with another one. Halliburton is really trying for that villain arc in MSG. I hate him so much already. But here's the thing, like, and this is why I push back on Andrew. You don't hate anybody who sucks. You know, you hate him because you know he's good. And listen, they're gonna have battles. They're gonna have battles this year, moving forward. Who the hell knows? Thanks, Baltimore Corey.
He stinks.
There you go. Jesse, don't make the same mistake Wally did, please. Jesse M. But I was told Precious is not a Tibbs type player. I didn't think he was. A lot of smart people did not think Precious was a Tibbs type player. And I think, never been a traditional pick and roll center, which is like, again, that's what they want their centers to do on both ends of the floor. They want you to be able to guard the pick and roll on one end, and they want you to be able to execute it on the other, screen and dive, the whole thing. That dude just, it's energy. And it's funny, like, you watch him play and the way he goes about his business, it's not like he's Josh Hart out there, but he brings a definitive energy to the game. And boy, did they need that tonight. Thanks, Jesse.
By the way, I forgot to mention something.
Yeah.
We have a bit of an announcement about Saturday. While we are at a bit of a programming, we are at our watch party. We're going to do some content there and have some type of recording thing we're going to do there that will air on Sunday morning. There will be a KFS post-game show hosted by friend of the pod, Mr. John Schmielk.
Oh,
yes.
That's exciting. I didn't even know this.
Yes, it confirmed today. He'll be hosting Saturday night's post-game show
incredible.
After the Knicks play the Lakers. John, I apologize in advance if they lose, which I'm not 100% sure they're ever going to lose again, and you get hit with the jinx. I think you're going to do a tremendous job on the post-game, APJP on the ones and twos. So tune in Saturday night if you'd still like to for a KFS post-game show. That will be your regularly scheduled program.
That's awesome to hear. I'm already looking forward to listening to that, win or lose, after that game. Dom the dentist, fuck everyone's eyes tonight. No, nobody gets to see after that. We all have to poke our own eyes out before we go to bed. Completely agree. Drew, this team goes to war. Can't wait for Mitch. # season of Hartenstein. I thought Ian Bailey, shout out to Ian for coming on the pod. He was amazing as always. I thought Ian and Fred had a really informed, to say the least, because they're the two most well-informed guys out there covering any team, and they both happen to be covering our team. Really, and insightful discussion about whether Hartenstein or Mitch would start when presumably Mitch will come back. And I agree with, I think, the point that they both kind of made, which is that Hartenstein, there is Hartenstein does kind of make more sense coming off the bench in a perfect world. And then at the same time, with Mitch coming from where he's coming back from, maybe with conditioning stuff and whatnot. So I just can't wait to see the mixing and matching because they're very similar players, but they're also different players. And the fact that we're going to be able to have them both, hopefully, and then still have Precious, right? Like this is what that's the thing is like we're witnessing from Precious. How is Precious not going to be in the rotation moving forward? Like that's in it. Like again, I don't want to talk about anything that like is uncomfortable and is like, oh man, that could be a dicey situation. But like, I don't know. Is it possible that just Precious could be the backup 4 when if Julius comes back? I don't know. We'll see. Would be a good problem to have. Robert W. Cross. Hello, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, your Knicks, your New York Knicks are NBA title contenders. Hashtag 53 wins. It is here. Talk about appropriate. I believe now tonight, if my math is correct. Yes. 53 win pace. Went above it. We're actually 50. Actually, if you round up to 54 win pace now. So hashtag 53 wins, baby. Hashtag 53 wins forever. Busy. I'm hearing from all my faves tonight. This team is fucking special. Hashtag the Nova effect. A lot of talk about just like, hey, maybe the secret to a great culture is just like get a bunch of college roommates together and be like, you want to play basketball together? Or they weren't all roommates, but like you get the drift. Trust. Right? Trust. It's key to any good relationship. Anyone who's married knows that. Anyone who's ever really worked at a job where you have to work with other people, trust is the most important thing you could have. And when you get a group of players that bring with them built-in trust that you obviously you can't fake that. I think that says a lot about why they're why they're so successful right now. Thank you, Busy. Hannibal Miles. We are the New York Knicks, baby. Damn right we are. Oh man, this feels good. This feels so freaking good. I don't know how I'm gonna go sleep tonight. Thank you, Hannibal. Michael Aaron, what's going on, Michael? I lack the composure to convey my emotions right now. I think I said deja vu. The fact that the Knicks did this while missing 4 of 9 regular rotation players is bonkers. And even that, though, I don't even think that does it enough justice because this is an insane thing to say that I'm about to say. But even though they have gone whatever the hell they've gone since the trade, they've lost 2 games. We have still felt at times, I'll speak for me. I have felt at times that this team is missing a piece, right? They have not quite replaced the bench initiator role that IQ brought. So OG being out and knowing that they dealt 2 initiators for OG, to me, OG being like missing, it's almost like they're missing 2 players. And then like you factor in how important Randall is to them, that's why like I'm going on and on because I don't feel like saying that they are missing 4 of 9 regular rotation players. I don't even feel like that does it justice. They were playing with like less than half a team, which that statement doesn't give obviously proper credit to all the people who showed up and played huge today because these guys are good. Whoever they throw out there is good and contributing. I'm going to repeat myself again. Testament to the culture and testament to Leon Rose. And I'll give a little love to the Eastern Conference Coach of the Month. How you doing? Tom Thibodeau. To coach, again, you up roster upheaval in the middle of the damn year. And they just don't lose. That says something. So yeah, Leon, credit. Tibbs, credit. Brunson for setting the tone, credit. All of these guys get credit. Sam Garcia's dad. What's up, Ray? Tonight did it. I'm jumping out that damn window. We're all there. Why not? Why not? Why can't this team beat anybody? I don't know. Robert W. Cross. Just wrote 9. I think he wrote 9 W's in a row. Yeah, it's 9. I counted. Hashtag 53 wins. I think Robert's back in. I think Robert was like, he needed a minute. He needed a minute. But he's back in, which we needed him. So that's good. It's important. Thank you, Robert.
Real quick, Robert. I'm not sure if this is difficult to do in Google, but you should change your name to Robert 9W's Cross. Just saying. Sean's been changing his name to Sean with 9 W's. So
yeah, but Robert's an elderly gentleman, so I mean, it's a good thing he could even see the keyboard to know. He typed the right letter. That's a good thing.
You empathize, right?
I do. I'm big on empathy. You big empathy guy here.
Next super chat.
Andrew P. Bunch of warriors. Precious, you are Nick. He's been a Nick now for a little bit. This has been. I want to talk about trial by fire. I want to pull up his stats real quick because again he deserves the praise that he's going to get. So and this is a guy that I think one of the knocks on him, is that maybe he wasn't the best rebounder in the world. He has a 5.3 rebounds per game average for his career, but that's not in a lot of minutes. Here are his last bunch of games. This is now 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. So 11 rebounds, 9 rebounds, 10, 10, 5, 5, and then tonight, what did I say he had tonight? He had a bunch. 16. So doing some quick math, that's over 9 rebounds a game now for 7 games in a row. That's pretty good. And he's doing it a lot from the power forward position too. So it's not even like he's the center like Hardenstein gets to gobble up rebounds. That's pretty good. Thanks, Andrew. And shout out to everybody watching, by the way. This is really fun. This is why I do this. A lot of guys doing big time things here for this team. And I really don't want it to end. Jessica, what's going on, Jess? So Jessica put a YouTube video in here that I unfortunately can't see right now. And then number 9 a bunch of times. And then Tibbs culture, babe. Let's freaking go Knicks. Yes. I love the number 9. I like it more after tonight than I've ever liked it before. Yes. And yes to Tibbs culture. Busy with another one. Precious throws a bad pass in the final minute. I know exactly where you're going with this. Precious throws a bad pass in the final minute. Brunson turns to him and says, "My fault," even though it wasn't. The leadership is as great as his game on the court. That moment, saw that. I want to go back and rewatch the play because I noticed that in the moment too. And not every star is going to do that in that moment.
Would you like to watch it now?
I would love to watch it now.
So let's see. Is it choppy?
I don't see anything moving right now, so that's probably
so that might be it. Okay. So the other element of this, if I can get this to work, is that Tibbs loses his mind on this bad pass, right? And Jaylen Brunson turns to Tibbs, calms him down, and is like, "Hey, we got it," and then goes over to Precious and is like, "Hey, that's my bad pass that happened." So that speaks, like you said, to the leadership of it all.
I mean, there's different kinds of leaders. Again, this is not the night to praise the opposition, but Halliburton is a leader in his own way because he's the type of guy that guys are going to love to play with. because they know they're going to get good shots, and he's kind of a fun guy. Like there's that sort of leadership. There's a sort of leadership where I think, like LeBron, it's like, you're in awe of a living legend, right? From the freaking first time that dude stepped foot on the court. But LeBron also comes with some baggage, right? I don't know how many leaders there are in the NBA right now that are better than Jaylen Brunson. I don't have anything else to add. Just full stop. Never complains. Just never complain. Think about how many stars in the league have agitated. Like, how many stars in the league haven't agitated for some reason or another over the course of their careers? Literally go through every star in basketball right now. And like off the top of my head, Jokic, okay. He hasn't. Steph, he hasn't. SGA, as far as we could tell, hasn't either. It's a very short list. And I'm not talking about it on their current teams. I'm talking about at some point in time over the course of their careers. Like, all he cares about is getting the ship pointed in the right direction. It's incredible stuff. TJ2K, why not us? That's the question, isn't it? That's the question. It's not. I mean, the only answer left. The only answer left is, well, will there be a matchup where the talent discrepancy is so vast, right? Because it's not about fit. This roster fits together beautifully. It's not about culture or depth. They have all that. I will respectfully say I don't think it's coaching. Reasonable minds may differ, but I don't think they're going to get out coached. All due respect to Spo, maybe he's the one guy, but Miami's having their own issues down there. Is there a matchup out there where the talent is just and you go up and down the roster, and that's where Julius comes into play, right? That's where Julius comes into play, and that's why I said the day he got injured or that night, like they need him. They need him. But that's the only answer left, but man, the fact that we're sitting here and I think you guys know I tend to be pretty even keeled. I try not to get lost in the moment. The fact that I could sit here and actually ask myself, is there a big enough talent discrepancy between the Knicks and whoever they're playing where they can't overcome that? Like, the fact that we're asking that question speaks volumes. Thanks, TJ2K. Varun, what's going on, Varun? How you doing, man? Grittiest win of the year? I think so. Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm trying to think. That first Miami victory was gritty in a different sort of way. That was just like they just caught fire, and Miami had nothing to counter it. But in terms of gritty, yeah, this was gritty because, again, like Andrew said, they were playing 8-on-5. Super proud of this team. F the Pacers and F punk ass Halliburton. Yes, fuck the Pacers. Absolutely. I hate that fucking team. I've always hated that team. I've said it before. I'll say it again. For me, in terms of genuine, hatred, I do not want to lose to those fucking guys. It's always been Pacers 1. Pacers number 1. And then Heat 2. Just behind. But, I mean, those are the top 2. Forever. TJ Davis. This team is freaking amazing. Brunson is the heart of the team. Deuce was special tonight. Hartenstein was a beast on the boards. This was a team win. It was a team win because, again, Brunson could not do this alone tonight. It's It's just great. It's just great. Yeah. No, and he is, and I'm glad you said that though, also that he's the heart of the team, because a lot of guys who are and I don't want to like call anybody out, but like, again, look around the league. I think there are superstar players in the league that you would not necessarily say that they are the heart of their team. And maybe that's why those teams don't win everything. I think you could look at Steph, right? And say Steph's always been the heart of the Warriors, in addition to being obviously the most talented player and one of the most talented players in the league. Like KG is a great example. He was the heart of the Boston Celtics in 2008. Like there's examples out there. A lot of times that's not the case, where you have a superstar who's like, you need someone else to be the guy. In that sense, Brunson, he brings it all. Thanks, TJ. Mythic Monty. Nobody wins in the mud like Tibbs Knicks. That's where Tibbs wants to be. He wants to be in the mud. It's where he's comfortable. I guarantee you, I don't think that there's a win this season that he's been prouder of. Down the guys that they're down. I think he likes his team a lot. I have to think he likes his team. And my God, where we are all sitting here and being like, I guess we're jumping out the window. I would wager a not insignificant sum of money that Tibbs is banging down Leon Rose's freaking door, saying like, man, if you could just get me. And again, they may not. I know tonight we don't want to talk trades. We don't want to talk like, oh, they need this, they need that. But if Tibbs is saying, just get me, if you could get me just one something else, just a little, because you know who believes that Jaylen Brunson is good enough to lead this team to a championship? Tom Thibodeau. I guarantee he believes that in his core. He believes that. I know he believes that. So I'm not saying he's batting down their doors saying you got to get me a better player than Jaylen Brunson. But I bet you he believes this team can do something special. I think this is the team he's been waiting his whole life to coach. And not to say he hasn't had great teams. He has. The early Chicago teams, obviously. But like that first year, they weren't ready yet. They weren't quite there. And then the second year, obviously, we know what happened in the playoffs. So I think he looks at this as like, this is it. This is it. Colin Reardon, give everybody a damn star. Break the effing rules, John. No, the rules are there for a reason. There's been some tough decisions recently. Tonight, how I decide between Achua Hartenstein and McBride. Is this the toughest decision of the year? I think so. I think so. Because, like, just going through the thought process, like, bro, Brunson's an automatic. Precious has to. I think Precious is an automatic. So that means Deuce or Hartenstein's not getting a star? I don't know, man. I don't know how I'm going to do that. I'm going to need to pour myself another beverage and think.
So it's two spots for three players, right?
Yeah.
So why not each of them get one star?
Because I used to do stuff like that, and I feel like that violates the integrity of the process.
But if they're worthy, and then it also differentiates Jaylen Brunson with 3 stars.
But it's like, that's like, you know what? De'Aaron Fox is having an incredible season this year.
Mm-hmm.
Let's make a 13th All-Star spot for him because he's having such an incredible year. Do that. It sucks. But I haven't done it this year. You saying tonight is the night to break the rule?
I'm just curious if I offered you a way to break the rule or to bend the rule, because you're still only giving out 6 stars.
I understand that.
This would be like if you gave up, like, De'Aaron Fox and Cat had half an All-Star appearance. At the end of their careers, they made 2.5 All-Star games It's because we broke that last spot into 2. Like, that's what I'm suggesting.
Not crazy.
Just a suggestion. That's all. By the way, Hallie stinks. Continue.
You're really not getting off that. Christopher Halecki, what's going on, Chris? There are no words. JB is by far the best Knicks point guard I have seen. That conversation's over. It's his best Knicks point guard since that guy right over. Where is he? Right over my shoulder. Clyde Frazier. Little fit. My little figurine and my signed basketball. Very few pieces of memorabilia matter to me, but that one does. That's Clyde. Clyde's a top 50 player of all time. But after him, yeah, that conversation's over. And again, it's a silly conversation to have right now because the guy hasn't even been here for a year, and he hasn't even been here for 2 years yet, 2 seasons. Like, but where does Jaylen Brunson rank on the list of all-time Knicks? Like after the season, I guess that kind of depends on how far they get in the playoffs, probably. But like, my buddy Bernard texted me before, like, are both Brunson and Julius like top 10 all-time Knicks? Like that's a bit of a stretch, but man, what Brunson's doing, I've never experienced this. I've never experienced. I don't want to get into a Melo thing. Melo was awesome. Melo's a top 5 Knick, so that's neither here nor there. But this feels it's to me it's very definitive. What I'm experiencing right now and what we are experiencing right now with this player and what he is doing. It is him. It is Melo. It is Ewing. That's my lifetime. I shouldn't say that's my lifetime because I was alive for Bernard King, but I wasn't. I was like 2 years old. So, thanks, Chris. Kevin Danishevsky, what's going on, my man? I was so sure we were going to lose this game. I had bad feeling right up through sometime. Shit. I mean, you know what, though? I had hope at the half. When they closed the half strong, I was like, okay. That was important. That was big. I thought the way they closed the half was big. And then there were some moments in the third where I was like, they're not winning this game. Did Halliburton not play in the fourth quarter? Yeah, that helped. That helped. But they're gritty. I don't have any superlatives left to invoke the Bible. Maybe 20 years in the wilderness was the price for Jaylen Brunson. Man, a lot of suffering. If you cared about this team, those were not fun times. They were not fun times, and they were. It was not. Man. Well, I've been saying this a lot. I've taken to watching the Pistons for reasons that are just beyond comprehension. They're a very bad basketball team. Very bad. They don't like. I imagine being a Pistons fan watching it, and like, yeah, it must suck. I'm sure it sucks a lot. I'm not gonna minimize the I don't know, aggravation, anguish that Pistons fans are going through right now. And you could say this about any number of teams in any number of seasons. But there was something about how it went down for so many of those 20 years that made you be like, why was I cursed with this fucking illness to be a fan of this team, where they just made you be like, what are we doing here? And whether it was the decision-making from the front office or the effort of the players and the collection of players that they had assembled, or like some of the off-court stuff, it really just made you, because you knew in your core that you can't quit it. You can't just say like, I'm done. Not if you're a real fan. And I know people like quit over the years. Fuck those people. You couldn't quit. You just couldn't quit. You were in. And as bad as it was, and as painful as it was, and as much as it made you hate yourself for continuing to give over your emotional well-being to this dumpster fire, you kept in it. And yeah, it was really freaking tough. So yes, Do we deserve Jaylen Brunson? You're goddamn right we do. You know, all due respect to Dallas and their fans that now have to live with the fact that this guy's what he is here. Y'all got a championship. Y'all had Dirk, and now you have Luka, so you could go take a walk. Thanks, Kevin. Mark R, what's going on, Mark? Say it loud, Jaylen Brunson, born to play basketball. I really do want to get that tattoo. Best win. I have to get it like framed or something. That quote. Best win of the year so far. # All-Star. Yeah. Best win of the year. It might be. Very unique win. Very unique win. Here's the thing, though, right? We're starting to rack up some best wins of the year. You know, Philly. I think Philly has to be pretty prominent somewhere there. 36-point win in Philly. That was really special. It'll get forgotten about. I guarantee you it'll get forgotten about and lost the deeper we go. The Minnesota win, because, again, they had lost 5 of 6 games going into Minnesota. And, well, you could look at that and be like, it's their first game with OG Anunoby. Like, they haven't played together. The Wolves are the number 1 team in the West. Like, they're allowed to lose this game. That was a big win for momentum. So that's up there for sure. My God, the Phoenix win seems like a million years ago now. But again, you look back at the Phoenix win, and that was big as well. So yeah, I don't know. There's definitely a lot of candidates here, but this was right up there with any of them for sure. Jeremy Chase, what's going on, Jeremy? Take my money. I love this team. JB is the most relentless motherfucker. MVP candidate. iHeart and Precious are dogs. Shout to Julius on another All-Star appearance. I'm loving the Julius love tonight. I appreciate everybody who's making a point to do that tonight. It is important. I think the Jaylen Brunson MVP campaign starts in earnest tonight. And like, again, there are levels to this. There are can win. There are this guy's running. He's running for it, right? He's running. He's in the running. And then there are fighting to end up on the ballot. And then one level down from that is like, we should be talking about this guy in the MVP conversation. So there's 4 levels. We should be talking about this guy in the MVP conversation, fighting for a spot on the ballot. He's running for it and like can actually win. And like it, I don't want to take anybody to take, like, I don't have Brunson in category 1 as can actually win, because as far as I'm concerned right now, I think there's one guy that can actually win, and he's won 2 of the last 3 awards. It's Nikola Jokic. I don't know that there's another player that can actually win this thing, barring injury, now with the Embiid news today. But like, I think Brunson's in the next group with SGA, Giannis. I'm biased. I'll put him over Luka. You know, Luka's amazing. Luka's incredible. There's not anybody on the planet that could do what Luka does offensively. Where has Jaylen Brunson gotten his team versus where Luka has gotten his team? You know, and like, they both have they both have star teammates. You know, he has Kyrie. Jaylen has Julius. You want to talk about Tatum? All right, I'll put Brunson against Tatum. I think those guys, that's a real conversation. Brunson versus Mitchell, that's a real conversation. And then, you know, we'll see what Embiid, but even again, if Embiid misses time, like, even if he, like, let's say he plays 65 games, that's a lot of missed games. So he's right there. He's right there for me, at least. This is thanks to SNY _ Knicks. Somebody asked Jaylen Brunson how he's feeling. He says he feels fantastic after getting hit in the eye. I'm sure he does. My Lord. Ryan Menzies, what's going on, Ryan? The thing I take away from these crazy shorthanded wins is that this entire team has bought in. 1 through 15, Jaylen Brunson, born to play basketball. Everybody has to say it. Everybody has to say it. Yeah, it's a big 15. It's the reincarnation of the big 15. Culture, coaching, buy-in, all the things. And you don't get that without leadership at the top. And when I say at the top, that's through the organization, but that comes from Brunson. That's why tonight, I really believe this. Tonight being about Jaylen Brunson, it's not just because he put up 40. We're like glossing over the fact that he put up 40. Put up 40, including the last several with one eye. It's inspiring that level of leadership in your teammates so that they could do what it took to get the win. Incredible stuff. Frank Sound, what's going on, Frank? Love this fucking team. What a fight. Let's go Knicks. Yes. Amen to that. I was just looking at a quote from Jaylen, another quote from Jaylen after the game. It was a great win. You've got to give it to that team over there. They play fast, they play hard, they play physical. Coach Carlisle is going to have those guys ready. Of course, Jaylen Brunson was coached by Rick Carlisle for the first several years of his career. I'm sure he has a lot of respect for Coach Carlisle. Coach Carlisle had some absolutely praiseworthy things to say about Jaylen Brunson before this game. I'm sure he had some very nice things to say about Jaylen Brunson after this game. So those guys have a lot of respect for each other. Rick Carlisle, coached in this league long time, knows what he's talking about. And by the way, interesting connection. Rick Carlisle coached the Pistons before Larry Brown took over the Pistons team that a lot of people want to compare this Knicks team to. So he was there before they became their final version of themselves. But he kind of saw that in the making. And I wonder what he thinks. I wonder what he thinks about whether this team could do what that team did. Kevin Wilson. What's going on, Kevin? Seeing Brunson get emotional during the post-game interview got me emotional. I love that man, and I love this team. It's okay. Doesn't matter what your personal preferences are. It's okay. It's always okay for a man to love another man in this situation. It's funny you say that because, again, shout out to SNY Knicks. I'll retweet it right now. Brunson talking about that emotional moment after the game said says you always work for certain moments, but you never know how to react once it happens. It was special. So he admitted to it. I think he has the ability to be cognizant of what is happening while also being focused on the prize and not like, are any of us sitting here and getting worried about the fact that this is like going to go to Jaylen Brunson's head, or he's going to start being lazy, or he's not going to give it his all, or he's going to no, none of us are worried about that. Not a single Knicks fan alive that's worried that what we're seeing from Jaylen Brunson, yeah, he may have up and downs. He may have tough games. As he gets older, it may become a little bit tougher for him if his body starts to break down. But as far as the intensity and caring about the quote unquote, the right things, there's no question about that. Jessica with another one. Trade for a superstar, you say? I love I read that like Yoda. We already got 2 of them. This fucking team. Let's go Knicks. Hashtag tips culture. Hashtag number 9. Hashtag special team. I see, to me, and Jessica, I love that you shouted out Julius there. And I love all of the shout outs to Julius tonight.
She's not shouting out Julius as the second superstar. She means Precious Achiuwa. Just wanted to clarify.
Thank you, Andrew. I'm gonna push back, but I'm gonna spin it forward. I'm gonna try to spin this forward. Julius Randle is a star in this league, an unquestioned star, and there has been a lot of questions about whether he's a star. He doesn't get considered a star by a lot of people who are in the national media. He doesn't get considered a star by a lot of Knicks fans. So I love that I love that you're praising him here. But I think for the reasons that a lot of Knicks fans in particular don't maybe consider Julius a star, I think you see that's the unquantifiable part. That's the part that you can't put into words. Like, why is one guy a star and one guy is like a superstar? It doesn't, like, we always make it out like it has to be about talent, right? It has to be about points per game, or it has to be about size, or whatever the case may be. You know it when you see it. And Jaylen Brunson's a superstar, you know, and I think Julius Randle's a star, but I've spent so much time thinking about what makes a superstar. I've said some silly things about it in the past that I wish I could take back, to be honest with you. I do think you know it when you see it. And this guy, there's no questions. If anybody out there doubts that Jaylen Brunson's a superstar, what the fuck are you watching? What are you watching? Not Frank Williams. What's going on? Not Frank Williams. We've come a long way since my days. I mean, Frank Williams days. Let's go Knicks. Man. I'm going to do something real quick. Andrew, come up here.
What's up?
How are you?
Good. I got trivia for you when you have a second. What's the question? What do you need?
This is really embarrassing.
Uh-oh, what happened?
I have a signed hat that my mom got me from a Nick role player from like a long time ago.
Okay.
And I thought it was Frank Williams. It's like it's a name, because like she got it from someone who got it from someone who got it from someone, and it was around that time, and I'm old.
Find it?
No, and I've since forgotten who it is. And I when he brought up Frank Williams, because I just brought up his stats, he's a Knick from the 2002, 3, and 3, 4 season, and I'm looking at it right now, but it doesn't. I don't think it's Frank Williams. It doesn't look like Frank Williams' signature.
I'm sorry. Is it Ray Williams?
No, it's definitely not Ray Williams.
Okay.
Ray Williams, old player.
People in chat are suggesting it. That's all.
No, it's not Ray Williams. Ray Williams, by the way, I looked him up the other day because I was doing a search for Brunson Knicks that had, over the course of about a month-long span, I put in the search for 14 games, averaged over, I think I put in 27, 28 points and 7 assists. Ray Williams did it. He's a forgotten about Knick because he played during that kind of weird in between time that the franchise was. They were okay. They had some good years, but like it was a weird in between time between the championship years and the Ewing years. Ray Williams was a bad man. He had a stretch here for the Knicks that was very, very good. Anyway, that's all.
This is why you were born to, like, Jaylen Brunson was born to play basketball. You were born to host the Knicks podcast. This is up the same tree of you pulling out that Kevin Knox is the 100th in games played in Knicks history, randomly during an Ian Bagley pod. And then you're just like, yeah, everybody knows that, right? No,
and I don't remember who signed this fucking hat.
That's fine.
No,
I think you've earned your street cred, sir. Your credentials are very, very in front of all of us. By the way, would you like to know, Mr. Knicks Trivia, how many head coaches in Knicks history have 3 different 9-game winning streaks on their resume during their tenure?
Well, I just retweeted New York Basketball's tweet about all the longest winning streaks. By the way, hold on, just real quick. So this is their first 9-game winning streak this year. They had the 9-game winning streak last year, and then the We Here team had a 9-game winning streak. That was towards the end of the year, right? That was 9.
Yes.
I always forget if that's 8 or 9.
No, it was 9.
Okay. I'll say 0.
So many coaches have 3 different 9-game winning streaks?
Other than Tibbs, I'll say 0.
Other than Tibbs, it's one other. It's Red Holtzman.
It is Red?
Yeah.
So
Red
the
has 5.
5?
Yes. So 69-70 is the 18-game winning
Well, I know
streak.
the 18 when they started 20 something and won. That team was ridiculous.
72-73, they have an 11-game winning streak.
Okay.
In 68-69, they did 10 and 11 that year.
Well, that was after they got the Busher.
And then 69-70, they have a 9-game winning streak. So he's got 5. Tibbs has 3. Pat Riley has 2. And then you want to guess at the other 3 coaches that have won?
UB Brown?
UB Brown is incorrect.
I don't know. Don
What
McLeod.
happened in the last 11 years? What happened during
Woody.
Mike Woodson, that a 13 or 14 game winning streak. Stu Jackson had one in the 89-90 season.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
And then in the Knicks inaugural season from November 1946 to December 1946, Neil Coughlin, is that how am I pronouncing it correctly?
Coughlin? I don't know.
Coughlin? Regardless, in the Knicks' first ever season, they had a 9-game winning streak. So 13 ever, and 3 of them by Coach Tom Thibodeau.
It's pretty cool.
Yes.
It's a decent basketball coach.
Not terrible.
It's not bad. You know who 97. Thanks for the contribution. About 2 weeks ago, I asked you if this is the most dominant team since the Ewing era, and you said mostly, maybe, but not sure yet. How about now? 9 straight with the injuries is very impressive. You know what the weird thing about these sorts of questions are? It's because, again, we're talking about one team. We're talking about the 2012-13 team, which was such a strange season. Because, again, their over-under going into that year was in the high 40s. They were supposed to be a good team. They were not supposed to be a great team. And then they came out of the gate, and they were the last undefeated team in the league. They started 6-0, and they started whatever in 1. They got off to an amazing start. And it was just this brand of basketball that I think like nobody was really fully prepared for it yet at the time. And it was dominant, but it was dominant in a way that was like, what's going on here? Like this team is shooting a shit ton of threes. They have this wing playing the 4. Their second best scorer is coming off the bench. It was just a very, very, very different sort of team that I think caught a lot of teams by surprise. And then they went 500 for, Andrew probably knows this better than me off the top of his head. They went 500 for about half the year, 40 some odd games, whatever it is. And it was like, all right, well, they already got out to their lead, whatever. It doesn't matter. Their record was fine. Their place in the East was fine. And then they finished really strong towards the end. But towards the end, it was like, I was in the... full disclosure, I was in the process of falling in love with my wife at that time. I remember the playoffs very much because, like, once the playoffs started, obviously we were out every night. We were watching all those games in bars, and so I remember all those games. The last month or two of the season is a little fuzzy for me. I don't have that as committed to memory, so I know they won a ton of games over those last like month and a half, 2 months. I never got the feeling that like. I don't know. I mean, they were dominant. It strikes me as a dominant team. What this team is doing, I don't recall that team ever doing. So for me personally, I would have to say at this point, the answer is yes. I don't think that there's any team that I have felt this way about since the Ewing team, since some Ewing team. And I don't know if you want to go 96, 97. I don't know if you want to go 93, 94. I don't really remember 92, 93 that well. The 92, 93 team won a lot of games. I looking up, and it was a different league back then. But like their like statistical profile was not that of a dominant team, even though they were first in the league in wins that year, or second to Phoenix, whatever it was. Yeah, this is right up there. Zip Davis, what's going on, Zip? Patient, persistent, genuine. New York basketball. Ooh, that's a good slogan. Patient, persistent, genuine. I like it. Armand Burdenage, hit the damn music. Let's go. Is that Jeremy's music? Hit it. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. Maybe it's just my computer.
It's frozen is what's the issue. So we're barely getting it.
Oh, now I got it though.
There we go. It's barely coming in and out, folks. Apologies.
That's a good freeze. Look at how happy they are.
There you go.
Oh, well.
Shout out happiness.
Be a shame if those two kids didn't end up together. Hush Zoo. That precious putback caused the mini earthquake. That was the moment. That was the moment because it's.
You mean this moment, right?
Yes. Because if you think about the game, very strange game. Trying to come back, trying to climb the hill, because they were down early. Like it was like 13-12 maybe, and then the Pacers went on that run, and the Pacers went up by 8 or 9 points, and then from that point, really until the late third, it was like a two. At the very least, it was a two possession game the entire way. And then finally, like towards the end of the third, beginning of the fourth, they started to really crack it down. And then they finally got over the hump. You don't usually see team get over the hump, get some distance between them and the team that had dominated them, not dominated, but that had been comfortably ahead the entire game. And then after they get that cushion, fall behind again, and then get another cushion all in the span of like 6-7 minutes, whatever. It was a very interesting game, and the emotional roller coaster of that fourth quarter was, it was a truly emotional roller coaster of a quarter, and again, I was like, I was in tears by the end. Incredible stuff. Will Oliver, what's going on, Will? I am not used to this team bringing me to good tears. Yeah. So I guess I'm not the only one. How do you not? When you watch Jaylen doing that? Jeremy Chase, what's going on, Jeremy? Say it in your best Ed Rooney voice. 9 times. 9 times? 9 times. Oh, man. Not really saying a lot, because I'm sure, like, this is true of every American man between the ages of 35 and, like, 50. Top 10 movie for me. Certainly top 10 movie in terms of how many times I've rewatched it. 9 times. Yeah. It's good.
How many of these kids watching think you know what movie you're talking about?
I mean, what you're asking is it a movie that has a lasting cultural footprint to the point that if you are a average 20-year-old in the world in 2024, you are going to watch it? And like, my response to that is, not to get off on a tangent, but like, how many of those movies are there? And I should emphasize movies. How many movies are there like that? Because once upon a time, your options were movies and television, and movies had the gravitas and television did not. And now it's like, that's not how kids look at media anymore. It's like movies are like not a thing that are necessarily meaningful to a lot of people. So I don't know that any movies have that. So I mean, I don't know what movies are like. Goodfellas, The Godfather. I don't know. Do 20-year-olds make a point to watch The Godfather?
Maybe The Godfather. I do think the Godfather might have that footprint, because it seems like that's a bit of a holiday tradition at this point, that like either during Christmas or during Christmas or Thanksgiving you go watch The Godfather.
Like Home Alone. That's Home probably Alone, got one.
A Christmas movie. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yes, like, Bill Simmons. It's a Christmas movie.
I don't really kids today. No, seriously. Like, I don't know. Like, do kids like the thought of a human being not having watched like Back to the Future to me is unfathomable, and yet I feel like there's probably a lot of kids out there today that have never seen that.
For the kids that were wondering what 9 times is from, it's from Ferris Bueller's.
Don't tell them. Fuck them if they don't know.
I'm gonna have an open heart here and say that just because it's not on TikTok, you can still tune in anytime to Ferris Bueller's Day Off. One of the best comedies of the 80s. One of the best movies of the 80s.
You know why they should know about it? Because you know what the kids today have watched?
What?
Deadpool.
Yes.
What are you doing? Why are you still here? Go home. The movie's over.
I'm not 100% sure they knew that was from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, though.
Exactly. So educate yourself and go fucking be like, Google Deadpool end scene. And
they probably thought Ryan Reynolds was just original and created a cute ending to a movie.
Well, then they're idiots.
Chris, next time you're on the pod, we're going to do the game where we ask what movies you've seen and not seen, and then we can make John mad, which, maybe easier said than done.
There is no more important film for a person between the ages of 15 and 20 to watch than Ferris Bueller's Day Off. It is number one with a bullet.
Really?
Yes.
All 15 to 20-year-olds?
There's no more important. Yes, all 15 to 20-year-olds.
In 2024?
In 2024, in 2034, in 3034, like any year, the movie is timeless.
Okay. I'm just, it's not that important to me, but I love the movie. Don't get me wrong. Okay. We've completely gone off the rails.
Hey,
we have found our way into a parade in the middle of Chicago.
15 seconds on this. What movie was I don't know if you watch True Detective. What movie was
not this season. I started it and just haven't finished it.
I'm not spoiling anything by saying this. It's the number one show, biggest prestige show on television right now. And in the first episode of that show in the new season, what is there a callback to? Ferris Bueller's Day Off. That should say something.
Someone's bringing up Superbad in the chat. I think that's the movie that's replaced, like the important movie for 15 to 20-year-olds.
Fine. It's great. It's great. It's the most relevant movie since the turn of the century. I'll say that for that age group. I will still go with Ferris.
Glad we went down that rabbit hole. Shout out Alan Ruck of Succession fame.
Yes. Yes. Juanan, what's going on, Juanan? Baby shit soft league. And we're built out of diamonds. MSG is now the pound because we got nothing but dogs. God, again, talk about moments that didn't make us proud when I love Bobby Portis, but like when he got up there on the stage and was like, yeah, we're a bunch of dogs. They went 4-18. 53 wins in the name of the Father and the Son, the Holy Cross, and the Holy Robert Cross. Welcome to Tibbsville. # why not us? Amen. Amen. Sean Ford, what's going on, Sean? Thank you for the contribution. Got nothing to add, but thank you for building this community, KFS. And let's fucking go, Knicks. We here. We did not build anything. Knicks fans built this community. So thank you for building this community. That's what I gotta say. Thanks, Sean. I appreciate that. Hush Zoo. Like I said a couple games ago, we had our honeymoons in previous seasons. This one is just different. It's like Game 5 versus the Cavs vibes right now. I am again the 1 week to the trade deadline. We'll see what they do to further embolden this team. Jessica Elsner again, Brunsanity. Let's freaking go. Knicks, our superstar. He is our superstar. I don't care that he wasn't drafted here. That doesn't matter. He's ours. He's ours a hell of a lot more than he ever was Dallas's. That's for sure. Thank you, Jessica. Ja. Oh, we couldn't have a postgame without Ja. Put those tears away, Macri. You're not going to have any left when JB brings us to the promised land. I don't even want to think about that. What a night, though. What a team. Let's fucking go, Knicks. You know what I love? This is what I love. I love a lot of things. I love Lamp. I love that, like, you could zoom, you could just read the elevator pitch on this, and it's like Knicks shorthanded Knicks team beats Pacers when comes back on Pacers when Halliburton only plays 22 minutes, right? Like you could, all right, well that might have been a great win, whatever, or maybe not. Everybody here felt how important that was. And that's what your comment just made me think of. What a night. What a night. And we're all in agreement. You know? Maybe there's people in the chat or people out there being like, hey, listen, you beat a Pacers team where Halliburton played 22 minutes. Calm your jets. No one's saying that. No one's saying that. Thanks, Joe. True story, Jay. Screw Halliburton, love Brunson. We are a problem. Yes, we are a problem. Nobody wants to play this team. I watched the end of the Bucks game last night. You think I know they kicked the crap out of us a few times this year. Think the Bucks want to face the Knicks right now? I don't know about that. You know who I want to play again? I want to play the Celtics. Justin, I believe this team is special. This team represents New York City to the fullest. Brunson is a 1A superstar, a capital A. It is crazy. They got 10 legit rotation guys. Let's go Knicks. I dare I say, Justin, you may have miscounted. Legit rotation guys. Precious, Isaiah, Brunson, Hart, DiVincenzo. McBride is 6. Yeah, maybe you're right with 10. Randall, Mitch, OG, Grimes. And then Sims is kind of on the border, right? Sims is the borderline guy. Man, what do they ask him to do tonight? They asked him to play 13 minutes as backup center. Is Sims not a legit like your best teams in the league? I think have guys like Sims. I don't know. I kind of think he's legit rotation. How about this? We've seen a lot of Knicks teams that do not have legit rotation guys. We know a not legit rotation guy when we see one. I don't get that sense when I view Jericho Sims. I'm gonna say you shorted it by 1. I'm gonna say it's 11. Thanks, Justin. Sam Garcia's dad with another one. Jaylen Brunson is him, but this is a Tibbs team. No doubt. The endless hustle. Dogs. Bless this season in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Robert Cross. My daughter just learned how to say the sign of the cross in her little religion class. It's very fun for me. Yes, it's a Tibbs team. Yes, it's a Tibbs team. Obviously, it's a Tibbs team. But Tibbs, they embody Tibbs, and he is able to look good because they are the sorts of players that can play for him. You know, so it's a two-way street. It's a two-way street. Two-way street, absolutely. Hamdy M, what's going on, Hamdy? You're right, no words, but you always find a way to articulate what we feel as fans. Thank you. Well, Hamdy, thank you. Your generosity is always astounding to me. And again, thank you. Thank everybody for again. How much? If I didn't have this. If we didn't have this, I'd be just sitting here and be like, oh, man, I wish I could go somewhere and celebrate. No, I get to celebrate. Thank you, Hamdy. Daniel Soto. I think we all got emotional during the Brunson interview. This effing team. Wow, I'm jumping out. 10 windows tonight. The good thing for me is now I do this from a basement. So, for me, it's like I have to climb out the window. Like I have to climb up. Like I'm, so there's no jumping. So I guess for me, it's climbing out the window. Whereas my last apartment, it was that would have led to my untimely demise, unfortunately, or just some massive injuries. So I prefer this. Thanks, Daniel. Robert W. Cross. First time, long time, it's your boy John. I was getting emotional watching Brunson. Everyone should soak this in because it has been a long time coming. Hashtag 53 wins. It has been, Robert, and I know I don't say this lightly. I don't know that there is a fan out there that I have met and spoken to that internalizes their love and appreciation and everything for this team as much as you do, and your attachment to homegrown players in particular has always been inspiring to me, and I wish I still had that, but I think in Brunson, who is not a homegrown player per se, but I think he bridges the gap, right? Because who amongst us can watch that and be like, he's not really ours because we didn't draft him. It transcends everything. It transcends the boundaries of like the Lakers won a championship with LeBron. Yeah, they won it, sure, but that was LeBron's championship. That I mean, Lakers fans are stupid, so whatever. Jaylen's ours. Jaylen's ours. Thanks, Robert. Jason, what's going on, Jason? Good to hear from you as always. In the We Here season, you said we have to enjoy this because it's not always going to feel this good. This feels even better. I love this fucking team. Coming from you, man, that means a lot. You don't usually give yourself over to the emotional side. I did say that. I did say that because I was convinced that it was short-lived, because that seemed like lightning in a bottle. That's it. I don't know if I ever use those words, because when you use those words, it makes it feel like it makes it feel like it's not real, or it's false, or it's fake, or whatever. So I don't know that I ever use that term, but looking back, to some extent, right? Can we say, is it sacrilegious to say like that team caught lightning in a bottle? This ain't lightning in a bottle. I know that. Thanks, Jason. Colin Day, what's going on, Colin? All my years as a Knicks fan, the way they are creeping up the standings, all the injuries, more each game, they lose one of these last 3 games 99 times out of 100. This team feels different. I'm shocked. I'm shocked that we're here. True, but again, and it's not even about the Knicks. Yes, by our standards, we would have lost one of these games. Just the NBA today, from 2 perspectives. One, once I thought about this, once we learned that OG was going to be out, and obviously Julius is out, Mitch is out, and Grimes is going to be out against a good Pacers team. How many NBA teams would have been like, all right, great opportunity to get our guys a night of rest. Let's sit Brunson. Maybe we sit Hartenstein, right? Achilles injury. Let's sit him. Not this team, not this franchise. And look, you could pick Knicks over that. You could criticize that. I'm sure there's some people that might criticize that. There's that part of it. And then there's the other part of it of okay, now that the guys are on the floor, the fact that they showed up. And even when they showed up in the first quarter and it was maybe they don't have it tonight. The way we were watching this game in the first quarter, really the first half, the way it was going, I was fully prepared to come on here and be like, man, I know this team had won 8 in a row. I know we're good enough. We're fighting for the 2 seed. I shouldn't be on here talking about moral victories. And yet I feel like this was a moral victory because they kept fighting and they kept giving it their all. And they went beyond that and actually won the fucking game. And there are so many teams that wouldn't do that. They would just be like, all right, we'll go through the motions tonight. We have an excuse, right? We have a built-in excuse if their guys even played. So this team is out kicking its coverage and outpacing expectations to a degree that we are just not accustomed to as Knicks fans or as NBA fans. Special stuff. Zach G, what's going on, Zach? Jaylen Brunson, born to play basketball. I got to get that. I really want to get a poster made up of that. The truest and coldest call of all time. Yes, absolutely. Perhaps a t-shirt. Just throwing it out there. Zach G, thank you. Brian Valderrama, Precious making iHeart expendable or Mitch tradable. All right, we have our first transactional question of the night. No. No. They're in a, so I'm supposed to be talking to Bobby Marks in 9.5 hours. I'm sure I'm going to be looking spry for that. I'm going to ask him about the center position because I think that they're juggling. They have balls in the air right now, right? They got balls in the air between Hartenstein and his new contract, and Mitch is on a descending deal, very tradable, right? And now Precious entered restricted free agency. I don't think anybody makes anybody expendable. It's just they're operating from a position of strength, but a position of strength can quickly go to a position of weakness if you're not careful. So I don't really have a great answer right now, and I think we don't have enough information yet. But no, I don't think it makes Mitch tradable or expendable. Anthony Sixto, the Jeremy Jam is undefeated. There we go. That's it. That's the one. Thank you, Anthony. Rowan Senior, what's going on, Rowan? Breen, Jaylen Brunson was born to play basketball. Gave me chills. Gave us all chills. This team is officially my second favorite after the 90s Knicks and closing fast. I'm curious what the first favorite is. I would guess maybe 2012-13. Maybe you're a fan of the Insanity teams. I don't know. But either way, yeah. I mean, I think for anybody watching who's a real Knicks fan, you're watching this right now, and it's up there. Has to be up there. Thanks, Rowan. Lunas and Marat. What's going on, Lunas? How many players are we sure are better than Jaylen Brunson right now, especially as a first option? Also, I think if we play Indiana in the first round fully healthy, it'd be over in 4, maybe 5. I'm not going to go that far. I think it would be a tough series. I don't know who I want to face in the in the first round of the playoffs. You know, it would be great. It'd be great to get up to a number 2 seed and face, like, I don't know, maybe be careful what you wish for. Like, can we face Orlando? Can you imagine if they got up to like 2 or 3 and they face Miami in the first round? That would be something. How many players are better than Jaylen Brunson right now as a first option? Are better? Not many. I think there's a lot of guys that are like on his level. Who's definitively better? I mean, Embiid is having a special year. Of course, he's hurt. Jokic, awesome. Luke is. There's nobody that could do what Luka does. And then, SGA is probably the other guy who you look at and be like, yeah. But like, how do you grade like a Durant, right? Like Durant is still kind of like unguardable, but he doesn't have to shoulder the load that Brunson does. So like, I don't even know how to have that conversation. Like Kawhi again, but Kawhi's playing with Paul George and James Harden setting him up. So he's not initiating every possession like Jaylen is. And can we say top 5? Top 5, top 6, like that? That's heady stuff. Crazy stuff. Danny Gardner, what's going on again, Danny? Jaylen Brunson and Julius Randle getting all-star nods. That game, Billy Joel releases a new pop song for the first time in 30 years. New York stays winning. I did not know that. I have not heard it, and I can't wait to listen to it. I'm a big, obviously, I'm a big Billy Joel fan. I can't wait to put that on. CD Knicks, thank you for the contribution. Maybe there's a comment associated with your contribution. If there is, Andrew will get it up. Bernard Richardson woke the baby up. I had one moment, and I have an office door now that I could have closed, and I did not close it, and I was like, oh, shit. I slammed the table. So it was like, where are my couch warriors at? Let's effing go, Knicks. F the Pacers. Yes, fuck the Pacers. Forever and always. CD Knicks, here we go. Hey, John, first super chat, but I've been following KFS since the days of Periscope. Man, those were the days, right? Hey, let's talk about Frank Ntilikina's exceptional 17 minutes tonight. Boy, that Kevin Knox, man, he's showing a lot of promise. Alonzo Trier, that guy could get buckets. Damian Dotson, two-way player.
Emmanuel Mudiay, he personifies the Periscope era.
The Periscope era for me is personified by Frank and Mitch above everybody else. Everybody's second to them because those were the two guys that I spent the majority of the time. They my hopes and dreams were attached to them.
Fair. As far as analysis of that season, it's like, could they have something in Emmanuel Mudiay? You know
who sticks out more than Mudiay?
Who?
Kadeem Allen.
Kadeem Allen. You said Dotson already.
When Kadeem Allen had a moment, I was like, dude, is this guy the best point guard on our team? I don't know. Maybe he is.
Noah Vonleh. Who's the guy that blocked LeBron? Mario Hezonja. Team was ass, man.
Listen, there were some guys in over their heads. Let's just say that. Yes. Anyway, how much credit does Johnny Bryant get in the offseason for the change in culture and player development? I don't know. That's one of those things that like I would need to lean on people who are in the locker room and behind the scenes to know. Because I frankly I can't tell you. I imagine he gets some credit for sure. Absolutely. 100%. Thanks, CD Knicks. And I'll follow up on that next time I talk to Fred for sure. And we'll get an answer out there. Jihad Brown, what's going on? Can we talk about what kind of good mojo that locker room has right now? Precious, iHeart, and Deuce. Those are the three, man. I don't know how I'm doing stars tonight. This is going to be painful. Special locker room, special camaraderie. Everybody's having fun. Feels like, we'll see what happens in the next week. OG knows he's going to get paid. I think everybody else of importance in there kind of has already gotten paid. Like Deuce just got a contract, right? Precious is maybe concerned a little bit about his payday this summer because he's entering restricted free agency, but see. I'm sure it's great. Seems great. Thanks, Chad Brown. Hush Zoo, what's going on, Hush? Seriously, props to Deuce, a true dog and hard work. Change the game. So I really do think he changed the game in the beginning and the first half when he came in, and then he scored 14 out of 17 points during the most pivotal stretch of the game. How am I not giving him a star? Okay, great. So that means Isaiah Hartenstein doesn't get a star? I don't know how I'm going to do this. Thanks, Hushu. Dom Cappuccini was waiting for Dom to show up. Knicks are dogs in another game where people think they can bully us in our doghouse. When are they going to learn? This ain't 2019. Hallie has a big mouth. Yeah, he is a bit of a clown. Listen, he embodies it. He embraces it. Like, it's hard to be the villain. You got to have talent to be the villain. He does have talent. He is good. But he poked the wrong bear tonight, just like Colin Sexton poked the wrong bear the other night. You do not fuck with this team. It's a bad idea. Jacob Sklar, what's going on, Jacob? Jaylen Brunson doing his best to hold back tears during the postgame MVP chants was a truly beautiful MSG moment. The comeback and the brain call just adds to what was a magical night. Go Knicks. I think you verbalized it really well. That it was all of it together. The comeback, the post game, the Breen call. You got to throw in the hit in the face. you have to throw in the hit in the face. So those four things. What a night. My God. I can't believe that just happened. Andrew P. Knicks better keep all remaining second-round picks. Why? To draft the next Jaylen Brunson? Maybe. Maybe. Ja with another one. I know this is JB's night, but my God, Deuce was great. How big were those shots? Seriously. And it was when Brunson was off the court. They needed that offense because where were they getting offense from? They were not getting it from anywhere. They had nobody on the floor to create an advantage. Deuce needed to do what he did. And there were some threes and there were some drives. I don't know where the Deuce thing is going. I think if you're the Knicks, again, I'm not saying you've seen enough to be like, we're going to be fine with our 8 minutes a game in the playoffs that Jaylen Brunson does not get off the bench because we have Deuce McBride. I'm not saying they're there yet against playoff competition, against other teams trying to win a championship. I'm not saying they're there yet. But I think they've seen enough to want to continue. And this, well, I'm saying the obvious because they just invested the money. He's on a 3-year contract. So I think they've seen enough to want to see more. Thank you, Ja. Daniel Carlisto, I stand corrected. Precious is a much better than Ronaldo Balkman. What's his future with this team, John? I feel bad I'm not able to answer that question. I don't know. It depends on so many things. It depends what opportunities there for them to make trades this offseason. It depends on whether anybody makes a giant offer for Hartenstein. It depends on whether anybody makes a big restricted free agency offer for Precious, right? And here's the other thing. You still have Sims. So, and you have Sims, and look, Sims' contract is up. I'm fairly certain you'll be able to get Sims back on a nice number. Like, something a little bit more than the minimum. So one of these three guys is not going to be here next year, which is unfortunate. But again, can you pay it forward? We'll see. I don't. There's so many variables. I don't know. Thank you, Daniel. Nick Petroselli, what's going on, Nick? How are you? First time seeing you or Brunson emotional. Rightfully so. Thank you guys for the content. It means more than you will ever know. Man, that comment means more than you will ever know. Thank you. It's a lot of fun. Chris Carter, I'm emotional. Yes, we all are. We're all pretty emotional tonight. It's one of those nights. Down with another one. It is so clear to me that this is a true number 2, 3 seed contender. Get well soon. Number 30, number 8, number 6, and number 23. My God, those are some important players you just listed there because we're fucking coming, baby. This team, I'm going to say something maybe a little controversial. This team has some big challenges ahead. Like they're in such a groove right now and they're playing so well. And there's a trade deadline coming up and they're probably going to make a move. And depending on how long Julius is out, and we haven't really talked about the injury news from today, you could read that a lot of ways. I'm kind of reading it like, let's see where we're at in 2-3 weeks. At which point they might be like, all right, we have to get surgery after all. I don't know. Like there's so many variables, there's so many balls in the air right now. So I agree with you. Get well soon, but like, yes, they need to get well soon. Any way you slice it, this team is going to continue to have moving pieces and is going to have to adjust on the fly. as they head into what they hope will be a deep playoff run, and that's not always easy to handle. So, they've done it so far, though. So who the hell is anybody to question them? Thank you, Dom. Hush with another one. Man, thank you, Leon Rose, for being Brunson's godfather. Let's go. Outside of Kyrie, Brunson's the most skilled point guard. His footwork is absurd. The shot making is unworldly. They are both one of ones in different ways. I love the comp, actually. I hate Kyrie, but I love the comp. Because you watch Kyrie and you're like, yeah, there's no one out there that does it quite like that. There's no one else. There's no one out there like Jaylen Brunson who does it like Jaylen Brunson. I don't know. Kevin McHale? Hakeem Olajuwon? Seriously. It's like what he does at the guard position is just very silly. Jihad Brown, is Tibbs grooming Precious to be Taj 2.0? Listen, Taj is one of one. There is no Taj 2.0. There is only one Taj. Thank you, Mr. Brown. Dom with another one. 24 offensive rebounds. I know, Mitch, I've never seen that number in my life. Holy shit. I didn't. Wow. Great call by you. 24 offensive rebounds is what they had tonight. And of course, there's always something that I get reminded of later in the show that I wanted to bring up at the top of the show, and I forgot to bring up at the top of the show. I'm going to bring it up now. After the first quarter of this game, the Knicks were getting out-rebounded. I wrote it down. Make sure I wrote it down correctly. Did I not write it down? I'm fairly certain they were getting out-rebounded in this game. Either, I think, 17-11. I'm fairly certain 17-11 was the rebounding margin in this game after the first quarter. And by the end of the game, they had out-rebounded the Pacers 60-44. So, if A, I recall correctly from the first quarter, and B, my math is correct, that means after the first quarter, they out-rebounded the Pacers 49 to 27? Could that be right? Jesus. That's insanity. That's wild. Thank you, Dom. Charlie Boy third. What's going on, Charlie Boy? Hey, John, what a freaking game. I love this team. I haven't felt like this since the 90s. Join the club, man. So proud of them. Every single one of them. The vibes are immaculate. The vibes are as immaculate as they come. Completely agree. Haven't felt like this since the 90s either. It's a great time. It's a great time. Thank you. And thank you, everybody, by the way, who sent in super chats and has been incredibly patient. I know we've been kind of taking a little bit more time to go through them all. But we're don't worry. We're getting to everybody. Thank you, Charlie Boy third. Hush Zoo. Leon Rose should win Executive of the Year. I think he's going to get a lot of votes. I think he's going to be very much in the running. The biggest thing for me, and I imagine for voters, will be how do you account for the fact that his best move, signing Jaylen Brunson, was A, not this season, and B, viewed by many people as, including our commenter from a few comments ago, the result of him being the man's godfather. I don't know. We'll see. Mitchell Berger, what's going on, Mitchell? Thank you for the generous contribution, Mitchell. The emotions I feel toward this team cannot be put into words. Thank you, Jaylen. This is great stuff. This is just great stuff. I don't have the words either. It's sports. It's sports. We're getting this emotional about sports. You know you've put blood, sweat, and tears into a basketball team when a night like this happens. It defies logic. Freddie 1687. Congrats on a great win. And Julius Randle and Brunson's All-Star seasons. Can we talk about the three blind mice masquerading as NBA refs tonight? Awful job. Yeah, they were terrible. They were terrible. Awful. Awful. Terrible. Disgusting. I don't know what words was it. It was the worst. It was the worst refereed game I can remember seeing. The foul on Brunson. I can't wait to see his face tomorrow. I'm scared to see his face. I also can't wait to see his face and to know that they didn't call a foul. Unreal. Kevin Danishevsky, Knicks now on a 54-win pace, a.k.a. The 2012-13 record. Man, I hope they can keep it up. Saturday's going to be hard. Lakers, I would imagine LeBron and AD will play because they did not play tonight. And, those guys are not going to be any picnic. Those are some very good basketball players. And they won tonight, right? They beat the Celtics without those guys. In Boston, by the way. In Boston. I don't know how the hell that happened, but apparently Austin Reeves hit 7 3-pointers. There you go. Drazov, to modify a quote from Bo Jackson's 30 for 30. I watched that 30 for 30. That's a great 30 for 30. Truly. This day, Jaylen Brunson gave New York the greatest thing an individual could give a people or a city. He gave New York hope. Wow, that's a good pull. You're good, you. That's a great pull. Now I want to go and watch Ferris Bueller's Day Off before I go to sleep, and now I want to go watch that documentary before I go to sleep. Those two things. Thanks, Drazov. Man, and the I'm just looking. The Celtics had their full complement of guys. Newly named Jaylen Brown, All-Star Jaylen Brown, 8 points, 4-12 shooting. Not what you want. Alex, what's going on, Alex? How you doing, man? I'm a sentimental guy who roots for the name on the front of the jersey and the back. I get attached to our players. I'm so happy for Randall to get the All-Star game nod. Well, he goes through a tough rehab. Thank you again for mentioning that. 3 All-Stars in 4 years. Again, it's worthy of so much praise. It's not just the 3 in 4 years. It is the fact that he did it where the first All-Star berth, the first one, came after he was in the league for not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6. His 7th, right? 7th year? 4, 5, 6. His 7th year. 4 with the Lakers, 1 with the Pelicans, 1 with the Knicks. 7th year, first time All-Star. And now he's made it 3 out of 4 years. Who does that? It's not done. Like Kyle Lowry's done it. It's very few players. Very few players have done this. Thank you, Alex. Francisco Luciano, what's going on, Francisco? I was crying after that win and Brunson interview at the end. Glad to see I wasn't alone after you came on. No, you weren't alone. This is why I watch this channel. Real emotion we share over this fucking team. Let's effing go, Knicks. Not always right. I'm not always perfect. Not always poised, but you guys will get everything I have, and it will be genuine. So, thanks for coming aboard. Hushu, do everything to keep iHeart. He's so important. Let's go, Knicks. It's a. I don't know what they're gonna do. I wish I knew what they're gonna do. They don't know what they're going to do right now. For everybody being like, oh, you got to keep iHeart. For everybody like, well, like Precious, right? Is Precious a keeper? And then like the forgotten man, Mitchell Robinson, longest tenured Nick, all defense candidate. Like, it's a good position to be in. I don't think they know what they're going to do yet. Thank you, Hush. Haitian Ferg, my God, Haitian. Thank you for the generous contribution. It was great seeing you last night, man. It's always good seeing you. JB is New York. He has the heart of the city. Tibbs is the coach the city always needed, whether they knew it or not. This team bleeds like us, hustles like us, and believes like us. They're simply, now I'm getting choked up again. They're simply special. Get well soon, Julius Randle. Why not us? Well, the part that hits me there, and I wrote it as eloquently as I could a couple days ago. It doesn't matter if you root for this team, you're a New Yorker, and if you're a New Yorker, you appreciate what this team does. I mean, bleeds like us, hustles like us, and believes like us. I mean, just like that's what always made it so frustrating, right? That's why it was worse for us than it could possibly be for any other fan base. Because if you're a New Yorker, in actuality or in spirit, you give it everything. You give it everything more than anybody else gives it everything. And so when your basketball team not only doesn't give it everything, but gives it less than everything, and like noticeably less than everything, which happened here for a lot of years, it kills you inside. And so, and which is why, like, it's a thing that people say, like, oh, New Yorkers love this team because they fight so hard and this and that. There's a reason why that phrase exists, and it's why it's unique to New York and nowhere else. And you just verbalize that, Haitian. So I completely agree. Adam Raya, Brunson MVP odds were plus 40,000. I bet $50. That's 20 grand. Knicks keep winning, especially without Randall, OG, and don't forget Mitch. He's the MVP. He needs to climb Mount Jokic. I could see him getting past just about anybody else. I could talk myself into it. I could talk myself into him moving past basically everybody else on the MVP ladder. I'm not saying it's likely or even like a real strong possibility, but or real possibility, period. Jokic is the one, man. Jokic is the one. And that's going to be tough. But it's a worthy bet. It's $50, right? It's $50.
So if the Knicks are a 2 seed, you know what they need to do? Just like tomorrow, Hartenstein's out, or Saturday, Hartenstein's out, and then Brunson can win that. And it's like, well, he lost another player. Then take Josh Hart out the next game, and then he'll still win that, and then the odds will get better. And take DiVincenzo out the next game.
He's 1-5.
Exactly. And like take Tibbs out for a game, and then like, oh wow, it's doing without the coach, and then it's not even a question that he's the MVP.
Sure, 1-5.
Yeah.
That's what we need to do.
Yeah. If I have to continue the agenda, Jokic stinks too. Jaylen Brunson.
We're all about agendas here at Knicks Film School. Thank you, Adam. Drazov, make sure to go get milk after work so I wouldn't miss my chocolate milk ritual tonight. We are still going strong. All right, I love it. I love it. That's great. I like the ritual. I may have some chocolate milk after this game. Thank you, Drazov. Jordan Miller, what's going on, Jordan? Anyone else shed tears tonight? Yeah, I think if you're in good company there. The Brunson and one and the Precious putback at the end both had me tearing up. What a ride it's been. That and one, let it not be forgotten. Missed the free throw. Hartenstein, offensive rebound. And that's why I say, like, yeah, Dante DiVincenzo had a shit night from the field. He made that mid-ranger to put them up 3. That was a big moment. And that may be forgotten. Because again, the Brunson bucket put them back up, and the Precious putback is like really what was like, okay, we're gonna get this. But the one in between, the Hartenstein offensive rebound, which led to the DiVincenzo midi, let that not be forgotten. Jacob Slava, what's going on, Jacob? There's nothing left to say about Jaylen Brunson. He's a superstar, full stop. We're finals contenders. Anyone we bring in is a cherry on top. Window is bolted open. Can you bolt a window open? I don't even know you could do that. They're not going to mess with the chemistry. They're not going to mess with what this team has. Anyone they bring in, I think what we're seeing now is going to make them even more selective about being absolutely certain that whoever they bring in fits in with this culture. And I'll leave it at that. Thank you, Jacob. Christopher Halicki, what's going on, Chris? Again, Tibbs Coach of the Year. I don't think he's getting it. I don't think he's getting it. I think Dagnall is I think Dagnall's the favorite. For sure. Dagnall's the favorite. You could convince me that Tibbs is in the running for second position, though, right now. How about that? You could convince me of that. I think that's fair. Right now, right this second, I think you could say that. Thanks, Chris. Huber, then. What's going on, Huber? You know I've been a Tibbs questioner. Really? You don't say. He's coach of the year. That's nice of you to say, especially. He's grown. He's adapted. He's been masterful. Don't shelve Deuce after the trade. Jaylen Brunson had me in tears. It's a big question I have, what happens to Deuce if and when they make a trade. I think and I think it's going to depend. And I think Precious. What happens when, if Randall comes back? Like these are all such good questions right now. You have two players playing at an exceptionally high level, in Deuce McBride and Precious Achiuwa, that don't necessarily have roles when this team is fully healthy. So I don't know, or when they're healthy / after they maybe make a trade. If the trade does not involve Quentin Grimes, I don't see how they make a trade and Grimes and Deuce are both still in the rotation. So I'm fascinated by what they do. I'm fascinated. Thanks, Huber. I have Philly, Utah on here. I'm obviously rooting for Utah right now. Alex, it's your boy John. You can't believe how rich I got being the sole landowner on Deuce Island. Come visit sometime. I'll send you an invite via carrier pigeon. It's a good island to be on right now, man. This guy, what did he shoot from 3 tonight? I want to say he went, 2 of 4? Hold on. I'm going to guess he went 2 of 4. He went 3 of 8. He took 8 threes, my God. But that says so much. Deuce McBride took 8 threes in 29 minutes. I would wager anything that he has never taken that many threes in a game before. 8 threes, and he's confident enough to put up 8, and he made 3? That's a testament to him, man. Hush Zoo. I don't know how Tibbs does it. True big whisperer from Taj, Noah, Booze to Precious, Mitch, iHeart. The guy knows how to set them up for success. Stellar job. Who said it recently? DJ Zulo. Tibbs knows how to coach big men. Something about it. Dude, he got Pau Gasol. I forget how old Pau Gasol was on that team. That 2014-15 Bulls team, which everybody forgets about. That was kind of this weird amalgamation of different shit from different eras. Pau Gasol made an All-NBA team. I think he made All-NBA second team that year under Tibbs. And Tibbs had him playing the best defense of his freaking career. Pau Gasol that year. The dude, he knows how to coach up a big man or two. I'm gonna look it up here now. Because I want to say he got votes for all defense that year. Pau Gasol was really good. All right, next up, as I look this up, HD Huz or HD Huz. I don't know if there's an ulterior meaning to that I'm missing. Either way, Brunson hitting that N1 after getting punched in the face is the moment of the year for me. Absolutely. Yes. Gotta love this team. Thank you, and everyone at KFS. Thank you. Yes, it was the moment of the year. That's the, whether or not this is the win of the year, that was the moment of the year, without question. And just to close the loop on my own thing that I brought up, he was indeed All-NBA second team Pau Gasol in 2014-15, and that year he did get all defense votes. Did not end up on an all-defense team. He got all defense votes, though. Will Oliver, Jalen Smith should lend his goggles to the refs. Man, I was like, after Jalen Smith, there was the 3 and then the almost and 1 that they challenged and didn't win the challenge, but he missed the free throw. I was like, holy shit, are we going to lose to Jalen Smith? Yeah. You know what I thought to myself? I was like, is this going to go down as the Jalen Smith game for Pacers fans? That's what I thought to myself. I was like, oh, no. Please, God, no. Thank you, Will. Hayden Freed, thanks for your kind words today. Hashtag pray for 30. Thank you for the thread or the comment, because again, for anyone who doesn't know what Hayden's talking about, it really clarified the Julius injury situation for me, where I basically just had to accept the fact that like, we don't know what the fuck's going on. We'll learn some more in a couple weeks. Maybe it's good news, maybe it's bad news. If it's good news, we keep going, and then maybe it'll just be bad news later. Like, it's so up in the air right now. It's so up in the air. But yeah, sorry about your multiple shoulder injuries, and I hope you don't ever experience one again. Jaime, I forget, Nucho. Missing 4 of our main guys, we fought like dogs and pulled it out in the 4th, becoming a new trend. You got that right. Collective effort. This is the Tibbs team. So happy for Julius Randle and Jaylen Brunson. They deserve it, to say the least. The only thing I want to say, and look, there's been like a dozen comments like this tonight, and I obviously don't disagree with any of them. It is the ultimate Tibbs team. For whatever reason, when I hear Knicks fans say it, it's like, yes, absolutely, 100%. When I hear national media people say it, and like, to be clear, the national media people who say this, most of them, if not all of them, I have a ton of respect for, but there is an implication of a lack of upside / lack of talent. Yes, it's a Tibbs team. It's a Tibbs team through and through. It's also a fucking good team. And I'm not saying that like Tibbs isn't a great coach for this squad. I think he's the perfect coach for the squad, but they're just good. They're just a good basketball team, and Jaylen Brunson is a superstar. He would be a superstar under Tibbs. He would be a superstar under 29 other coaches in the league. You know, so I just want to throw that out there. Thank you, Jimmy. Kevin with another one. John, you win predictions. Yes, I thought of that. I thought of that. John, optimism equal the week's wins. Well, I mean, look, it was Jeremy's fault. Jeremy could have taken 3-1. I would have taken 2-2. So, thanks, Kev. Zach Lello. What's going on, Zach? Funny you mentioned IQ. Him and JB were awesome together. I'd like to see more minutes with Deuce and Jaylen Brunson. Think there's something there with them. Yeah, it was cool because I before a recent game, when I think maybe the last game when I knew OG was going to be out, I wrote somewhere or I commented somewhere that like, are we finally going to see Jaylen Brunson and Deuce play real minutes together? It was before the last game. And I looked it up and I was like, they had only played 11 minutes together all year. Well, guess what? The last game, they played 1 minute together. So that number went up from 11 to 12. Tonight, finally, they played real minutes together. And I agree with you. I think it looked good. And again, are they the perfect pairing? Maybe not. But I think they could play together. For sure. Thank you, Zach. Dom with another one. I said in the second quarter there was no way we could turn this into a gritty game. I'm so glad I was wrong. This team still has another level. I hope OG and Quentin are back for the Lakers. Let's freaking go Knicks. I said it before this game. I was like, oh my God, I so desperately want OG Anunoby to be back for this game, because I did. I meant it. I was like, I want to see the best defense in the league, which I believe we are with OG Anunoby, versus the best offense in the league. So it turns out we didn't have OG. They didn't have Hallie for the whole time. Whatever. It happens. We still got a really special matchup. I think they're going to need, not that this Lakers team has been like consistent, but like I think they're going to need OG for sure on Saturday. So yeah, I think they're going to need him. Drazov, 144-point pace after one for Indiana, only to finish with 105. You simply hate to see it. That's too bad for the old Indiana Pacers there. By the way, to answer my own question from earlier, these Indiana Pacers, again, high-scoring team in the league, they scored 105 points, was it tonight? Yes, I believe 105 points tonight. This was tied their fourth lowest point total of the year. Boston held them to 101, Memphis held them to 103, and Boston another time held them to 104. So two of the three times they scored fewer points than they scored tonight, it was against Boston, which I still think at full capacity is a top 2-3 defense. So that's pretty impressive. Cohen Gialli Brosnan. I hope I pronounced that correctly. First super chat. Been listening since 19 when you did a pod with Dolores on her birthday. I'll never forget that. Sorry about freeloading. No, man, I love everybody. This is the best thing ever. The fact that you still watch and you've always watched and you're not a super chatter, that actually makes me even happier. Thank you, KFS. Jaylen's emotional interview. TFT. This fucking team. Took me a second. It's funny you mentioned that. Dolores has another birthday coming up. It's a big one. It's the same one that I had last year. And I wonder if maybe we'll do something else for that. I don't know. I don't know if she's going to want to.
21?
Yeah, 21. That's it.
2022?
Let's say 30. How about that?
Whoa. I'll let you say that.
Drazov, GMAC makes a good point. Bree Hallie's assist numbers being, what is it? JJ Jade.
That's Jaren Jackson Jr. I think. I don't know if there's
the block. No, the block numbers. The block numbers.
Oh, his block
Inflated.
numbers. I'm on record. He stinks.
Who is this guy? I'm beginning to think any big fish superstar we bring in may have to accept being a 1A to Brunson. So the implication being below Brunson. This is Brunson's team. It's going to be Brunson's team for as long as he's here. That's never going to change. It's never going to change. I don't care who they bring in. It's going to be Brunson's team. And that's refreshing for what it's worth. Abdoulaye Diallo, how many times have teams come to the Garden and embarrassed us because they had a guy? I'm happy to report we also have a guy, and Julius. Let's freaking go. 53 wins. I've said this before, it was always the most infuriating thing to me. To face off against an opponent and you knew it, you knew they knew it, and you knew the Knicks knew it. And there's nothing you could do, and those days are over. Thanks, Abdoulaye. Varun, what's going on, Varun? The moment when Hallie blocked DiVincenzo's path to inbound the rock and DiVincenzo had to shove him, that's when I knew it was personal. He is the Reggie Miller reincarnated version now for us. The 90s rivals are back. Completely agree. I think the rivalry is real. I think the fact that Halliburton and Brunson were both point guards on this past Team USA, I think that matters. I think the fact that the Knicks could have drafted Halliburton and they didn't matters. I think the Obi stuff plays into it. I think the stylistic play style factors into it. And obviously the history factors into it. And if you want to throw in the fact that it's two very old school coaches who have been around for a long fucking time, I think it all factors in. Sergio Acosta, what's going on, Sergio? Thank you for the very generous contribution. Gonna keep fighting. Brunson is the heart of the Knicks and the city. As long as he's here, we have a chance against anyone. OG and Randall come back. Maybe Mitch, who's beating us in a series. Let's go Knicks. It's funny you put it like that. I know this wasn't like the spirit of your comment, and I completely agree with everything you said. He does have the heart of the Knicks and the city. I'm looking at it more like OG and Mitch come back, maybe Randall. That's kind of where I'm at right now. I hope I'm wrong. But like I'm at the point of like levitating above the earth with this team where I'm not saying that to be very clear, I'm not saying that like they're better without Julius. I'm not saying that. They need Julius. I want Julius to come back. I hope Julius comes back. I hope my worst premonitions are wrong. I'm so excited about this team and what they're able to do right now that if we got bad news regarding Julius like tomorrow, which we're not going to get because he's going to get reevaluated in 3 weeks, but let's just say we got some bad news. They're like, look, they looked at it, they tried to rehab, it didn't work. He needs surgery. My excitement for this team, I don't know how much it would be diminished. Truly, I don't know. Thanks, Sergio. Busy. Precious is not a traditional center. He's a traditional power forward. That's a great call. And how many of those guys are out there? How many guys? Seriously, how many of those guys? I mean, is Julius a traditional power forward? I don't even know. Thanks, Busy. Rob DeLusma. Yes, JM and our man Andrew. That's fucking 9 of them things. Go Knicks. Onyx. Go Knicks. Yes. Sorry, I'm watching freaking Philadelphia is about to steal this goddamn game. Dom Cappuccini with another one. The Knicks are flirting with top 5 on O and top 5 on D. Trust me, I know. I look at it every day.
Let's take you finish the super chat. I'm going to do a very quick look at the advanced metrics.
Tops on the glass. Yes, they're first in rebounds while missing key players. Has it been 50 years since we had a Knick team in top 5 on both ends? As far as I know, I don't know where to find like advanced metrics that go back to the early 70s, late 60s. So I'm not sure. I know that not at any time since I've been that I know how to like stats that I know how to access. They've never been top 5 in both.
7th in offense, 6th in defense, 4th in net rating.
There you go.
And like 0.2 behind Philadelphia.
I know. And Philly, we'll see what happens in the next 5 seconds. They're awesome. Thank you, Dom. Thank you for all the generous contributions, Dom. Frank Miranda, what's up, baggage boy Frank from Patreon? Let's fucking go. This team's incredible. Randall Haters, aka Busy. Oh man, spilling tea. Should apologize to our 3-time All-Star. How many players had that terrible start and turned it into a star? Testament to Julius. I mean, I made the argument in today's newsletter because I think there's a way to spin the first 6 games, not as a positive, but as like neutral, because most players don't play in those games. Most players coming off off-season shoulder surgery are like, you know what? I'm not perfect right now. I'm going to take my time. I'm going to maybe go every other game, or I'm just going to like not play basketball, or, any of that sort of thing. Julius was like, no, I'm playing. I can play. I'm going to play. And he sucked. And he was detrimental on the whole thing. But like, if you take out those first 6 games, his case, there's no argument. He's an all-star. Thank you, Frank. CT Pittman, what's going on, CT? My goodness gracious, man. Feels right that one of the OGs of KFS and of doing these post games chimes in tonight. And not only that, CT, you always outdid yourself. And you're doing so again right now. Thank you. His comment. I was clowned for years for being a Knicks fan. Today, I couldn't be more proud. I'm jumping out the window. Don't even put on a parachute, man. There's no need to put on a parachute. You don't need one. And no. Hey, CT. I don't know if you heard. We don't shine shoes no more. Thank you, man. Your generosity is so appreciated. Speaking of generous, Ray Marcano, my man. I've been watching the Knicks since 1947. I don't think he's right. Stop it. Forget what comes tomorrow. Forget about criticism. Enjoy this. This was as special a win as I've seen. Ray, I'm gonna call bullshit because I have to. No, Ray has not been watching this team since 1947. However, Ray Marcano has been watching this team for a long fucking time. And when Ray Marcano says this was as special a win as I've seen, listen to Ray Marcano because he knows what he's talking about. Thank you, Ray. Kevin with another one. Forget the 2012-13 Knicks. Are we better than 10-11 Chicago? My God, you always throw changeups here. No fastballs down the middle of the plate for you. I mean, that was a 62-win team that had the MVP of the league. I would need to really dig into that one. I will just say that I always talk about how it was a different league back then. I know it was only 13 years ago, quote unquote, only 13 years ago. It was before things really changed. So it was obviously before the 12-13 Knicks, to say nothing of before the Warriors. So different kind of sport. And like, how do you know that? The Bulls were first, the Bulls won 62 games despite being 12th in offensive rating at 107.2. I'm fairly certain a 107.2 offensive rating would be last in the league right now. They also held teams to a 99.5 defensive rating, which was obviously first. They had a plus 7.8 net rating. The Knicks right now are plus 6 point whatever. I mean, might be post trade. It's probably a conversation. I'll give you that. Armand with another one. Who knew trading 9 would get you to 9? That's a good one. I like that. Well, listen, RJ's thriving in Toronto, and we're happy for him. Just like we're happy for Obi Toppin, who had a really, really nice game tonight. A great first half. Overall, nice game. Thanks, Armand. Andrew Bank, what's going on, Andrew? All-time fave regular season win. Linsanity didn't feel as real. Tibbs has enriched my existence. His third 9-game streak in 4 years. Savor this. Man, all-time favorite regular season win. This is wild. This is wild that people are saying this. And it's not crazy. There's nothing crazy about it. Thank you, Andrew, for sharing that. I appreciate that. Sam, what's going on, Sam? It's great to hear from you. Special night. This team had my wife, myself, Jaylen Brunson, and John Macri crying tears of joy. Been at these post games since the Elfrid Payton days. Yeah, it's been a journey. Proud to be a Knicks fan today and proud of KFS. Thank you. We're proud to be able to serve this role. Thank you so much, Sam. And I know you've been here for a long time. I know. Andrew P., could we give some love to Malachi's handle? I said it. I thought Malachi played some good minutes. Thought he played some good. The dude drew 3 fouls in like 10 minutes. Or not, forget 10 minutes. He drew 3 fouls in like 5 minutes. How many minutes did he play? 7. And I'm fairly certain he drew 3 fouls. Only scored 2 points, but he drew 3 fouls. Thanks, Andrew. The blue-collar gent, what's going on? As I watch this team, no situation seems insurmountable. I've never had this type of confidence in my life. Felt this confident in a Knick assembly. It's different. It's unique. You don't feel like they're ever out of a game. You don't feel like there's a team they can't beat. Yeah, it's a special time. Thank you. Thank you, Blue Collar Gent. ML Nair. What's going on, ML? Brunson continues to shut up the Knicks critics and define what a superstar looks like. As Philly wins. God damn it, Philly. Ruined my night. Would have been perfect if they lost. Yes, he redefines what a superstar looks like. Because we've never had a superstar like him. Did Shaq say he's the best small player since Allen Iverson? Like Iverson, again, Iverson was one of one. There's nobody like Iverson. Never been anybody like Iverson. Never going to be anybody like Iverson. There's never going to be anybody like Jaylen Brunson. He's one of one. Wholly unique superstar in our league and in the history of our league. Thank you, ML. Kento Cato. What's going on, Kento? Jaylen Brunson as a leader is so steady, selfless, and a quiet, hardworking killer. So fun to watch and easy to root for. He and this team have that it factor. Well, he's definitely got the it factor. I think the team has the it factor. I'm glad that you used the word selfless. I think the whole team is selfless. I don't think there's anybody on this team who is in it for themselves at this point. I think there was a great deal of togetherness and unselfishness that has really come to the forefront over the last month or so. Yeah. Thank you, Kento. Zeke Smith? Yeah, Zeke Smith. What's the path for Brunson top 3 MVP finish? Embiid missing more than 17 games. Dallas falling into the play-in. I mean, what's the path for him to overcome SGA? How about this? How about Chet Holmgren and or J Dub taking it up a notch? And really like Holmgren like solidifying himself as the rookie of the year. And that would help. The Bucks continuing to kind of not fall apart, but like not be successful. Like I feel bad saying like the path is like for all of these other guys to fall off, but I do think to a certain extent, like for as much as he is in control to some extent, I do think there will need to be some dings on the resumes of some of these other guys for him to really to finish top 3. Thank you, Zeke. Danny Small. Thanks for the contribution, Danny. There we go. We've come a long way from the days of Mike Miller post-game pressers. I remember those days. I know you do too. Man, he didn't like me. I was the asshole who always asked, like, why aren't you playing the young players more? And I remember one time he gave me the ultimate death stare. That was not fun. Putting Brunson's ridiculous ascension aside, Tibbs getting these role players to play above their heads feels very Spo Heat-like. Yeah, I mean, opportunity, right? Opportunity is the father, or necessity is the father of invention, or mother of invention. One thing that I think Tibbs doesn't get enough credit for, because oftentimes when people talk about him, they talk about him in the context of like he's holding players back, and specifically holding young players back. I think there are better coaches in the league at giving guys a longer leash to like learn and grow on the job. I do not think that there is a better coach in the league. It's either him or Spo at putting guys in positions to be successful based on the skills that they have shown at the NBA level. And if you want to go back, just like even at the college level, maybe. I think he is as good at that as about anyone, putting guys in positions to maximize their skill set. And it is the quality of his that I feel probably is most unheralded. Thanks, Danny. There's always one of these, and we've had a few tonight. Brad Shanker. Brad, thank you. I never know what to say. One of these days, maybe I'll figure out what to say at moments like this, but I would just start by saying thank you before I read your comment. Macri was waiting for the right game to say thank you for the nicest 65th birthday message to my dad. Listen, man, that was my pleasure to do. This team means the world to us, and your message captured exactly why that bond is so special. Let's go Knicks. Hashtag 53 wins. Brad, I was really happy to do that. I hope your dad had a great birthday. It sounds like you guys have an incredibly special bond. It's really cool that you have this bond over this team. it's I my dad I've told the story before. I had my stepfather passed away a long time ago, and I watched the team with him. I also watched the team with my biological father, who's still alive, lives down in Florida. Been a long time since I got to watch a Knicks game with him. So, but I appreciate the ties that bind, and yeah, just I'm happy for you and that you get to experience it all together. And but I guess I just want to say, like, it's also cool that we've all kind of developed this family of Knicks fans here that are out there, which I know is like a weird thing to say because sometimes you go on social media and you're like, why does everybody in this fan base like hate each other? I think that's a lot of nonsense. I think that's just people looking to ruffle feathers for whatever reason. I think at our core, there's a lot of unity in the Knicks fan base, and it does feel like a family to me. In some cases, literally, and in some cases, more figuratively. So anyway, Brad, I can't thank you enough, man. That was unnecessary. But yeah, tell your dad I said hi. Sheldon Gomes, what's going on, Sheldon? Deuce with pride. That's it. That's the comment. Yes, Deuce with pride. Enough said. Hey, Jaime Claudio, not related to Andrew Claudio. Hey, Macri, I love the raw emotions you displayed to start this live. I am right there with you. What a great game tonight. I think a lot of people in New York were cutting onions at around 10 o'clock tonight. A lot of us were cutting some onions. It's okay. It happens. Thank you, Jaime. Jeff Guitars. I hope I pronounced that last name correct. I believe we will win with this core because I believe in Jaylen Brunson. Unreal. More KFS movie content, please. Listen, I can talk about movies all day long. I'm not sure everybody wants me to talk about movies all day long, but I'm such a movie buff. I'm upset. I got started watching The Holdovers last week, and I watched the first 2/3 of it, and I need to finish it. So that's bothering me that I have not. I don't like to start movies and don't finish them. That's not something I do. I'm not one of these people who will like sit down and watch a half an hour here and then a half an hour there. I just got I was interrupted by life. So that's my latest movie. But very much enjoyed what I saw so far. Thank you, Jeff. Cohen Gialli Brosnan, thank you again. Gonna put a pic of JB and get a pic of JB and put it on my bedside table. I think it's appropriate. I think it's fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. And if everybody calls you out on it, fuck them. Lunas, what's going on, Lunas? Non-Nick related, but as an NBA fan, what did you think of that LeBron report? I don't know why I find the idea of the Lakers deciding to trade LeBron to be so funny. I saw it. I can't get there. I can't. Like, the Lakers don't decide to trade LeBron. LeBron decides he wants to be moved. Like, I know he doesn't have a no trade clause. It doesn't matter. The Lakers are not going to trade LeBron unless LeBron wants to be traded, and that would be, in some ways, more earth-shattering than any other trade I could fathom. So I guess what I'm saying is I doubt the report a little bit. I don't mean that to disparage the gentleman who put it out there. Apparently, he's gotten a lot of stuff right over the years. The notion that they, like, all right, it's time, we got to trade him. I don't see that going down that way. Look, anything's possible. Crazier shit has happened. I mean, Kevin Durant got traded last year, So I don't know. Do I think that there's a real possibility he does not end his career with the Lakers? Yes, we talked about that. Me and Andrew talked about that on the Patreon pod earlier today. Like this Laker team, I refuse to believe that this is how LeBron's going to go out. But I think that that'll manifest itself in maybe something this summer / them doing something at the deadline or whatever. The notion that they're just going to trade him is like, I don't know. Doesn't pass the smell test for me. Thanks, Lunas. Always here for NBA questions. I-95 bully, just starting the stream. More Andrew rants. Andrew's very good at it.
Hell yeah. I-95 bully. Also, I should say new patron. Like now an active member of the Discord. So shout out to I-95 bully. Also, I want to give I-95 bully some props because he's also a contributor to KFS Study Hall usually.
Okay.
And you know what he said at the 41 game mark? It was right after they crossed 41 games, obviously, and they did a study hall. I believe it was 2 Sundays ago. And I-95 bully said, hey, he's adjusting to a new role. This is a new team. He's asked to be a Tibbs center, and there's a lot of responsibility there. Let's have some patience with Precious Achua. You're the only person I know that said that I-95 bully. So
good for
shout
you.
out to you. Shout out
good
to
for you.
And shout out to the BX. The Bronx. New York.
Yes, I am aware of where the Bronx is. Thank you. OG team, formerly RJ team, I think. I was gently crying at the end of the game. Me and you both. It happens. It's all good. All right, we're coming down to the end. Only question is whether we cross the 3-hour mark. Sean with a W. Maybe the prince that was promised wears number 11. I'm looking at the jersey right now. He's number 1 isn't good enough. You gotta have 2 number 1s next to each other. I don't know if that makes any sense. Zeke Smith, Randall was a consolation prize in 19. Now he's racking up all-stars and all-NBAs, looking at an all-time Knick career now. Amazing face turn. Thank you for that, Zeke. Again, special props to anyone shouting out Randall tonight. He was absolutely a consolation prize. He was the definition of a consolation prize. And like you said, he just keeps racking them up. Remarkable career. Truly remarkable career. One, much like Jaylen Brunson, 1 of 1. Julius Randle, 1 of 1, in terms of his career and how it's gone and where he's at now. Thank you, Zeke. Kiwi, what's going on, Kiwi? This is the night to bend the rules, Macri. I want to wake up to 4 stars in the newsletter. At this rate, I don't know if I'm going to get the newsletter done by 5 a.m. Pray for me. We'll see how that works out. Thank you, Kiwi. I'll take it under consideration. I'll take it under advisement. How about that? Ignacio Lobregat, thank you for the very generous contribution. Brunson isn't a 1A. Brunson's a 1. Hard stop. Took a punch to the face, literally, and gave one right back on the scoreboard. Each win a step closer to locking up a postseason ticket. Yeah, this team's going dancing. That's for sure. I don't know where they're going to be dancing from, what position, but they're going to be dancing. I like that phrasing, by the way. Kevin with another one. JB hunting Obi was kind of cathartic, LOL. Well, listen, Obi had a really nice game. He's a wonderful backup for the Pacers team. Perfect fit for them. Really helped. I thought he helped them more than he hurt them. Like, I know you're talking about how Brunson hunted on defense. I thought he was an asset tonight to Indy, and I'm really, really happy for him that he's there and has found some success in his career. Alex, can we do on offense, defense, net rating check? We did, so we got you covered on the verge of top 5 in both. Fred Katz, holy crap, you're still on. Yes, Fred, I'm still on. Are you working right now? What are you doing?
We know that's not true. I have an idea what he might be doing. Anyway, next up.
Unnecessary. Brian Lest, what's going on, Brian? This is 1 of 2. My God, I have a feeling this is going to be emotional. My wife is pregnant with our first. It's a girl, due this month. Out tonight for maybe our final date night for a while. Yeah, it's your final date night for 18 years. You'll have date nights. You'll have date nights over the next 18 years. they will be different. They will hit differently than other date nights that you've had pre-child. I promise you that. And by the way, in ways good and bad. So not all bad. Anyway, she's not a sports fan, but she 100% understood me watching the final 7 minutes on my, I'm guessing this is going to be phone. Also, congratulations, Brian. Your life is about to change. I'll just say that before we get to the rest of your comment. Your life is about to change. It'll become more difficult, but your life is about to change for the better. It's nothing like kids. I'll say that. And I love my girls. Oh, yeah. Watching on my phone and said nothing as I snarled expletives in a lovely cooking class. Oh, that's a good date. I remember when my wife and I used to go to cooking classes. We used to do that like once every couple of months. We loved to go to cooking classes. I've not done that since kids have been born. We just want people to cook for us now. Anyway, when JB got the and one, grateful for her, the season this team is giving us, and for the baby, Jaylen Brunson Lest's working on it. Man, that's a great comment. That's so good. That's so good. I'm so happy for you. Really, truly so happy for you. And if it's your daughter's birthday, maybe close to my youngest's birthday. Mine was born March 4th, which were born during a win over the Pistons. So, yeah. Congrats, man. That's awesome. And your wife sounds like she's pretty special. Dan Hidalgo, just a special season. We're going to remember this. It's, you know what's great? The We Here season was so nice, but it was one season at the time. We're now building up enough currency where we may remember this as an era, right? We may remember this as an era. Like the 90s were an era of Knicks basketball. Maybe you can separate it into two, early 90s, late 90s. But undeniably an era. Maybe this is turning into that too. Thank you, Dan. Oh my gosh.
And we're done.
Just under the 3-hour mark. Thank you, everybody. If you're still here, God bless you. Also, come out to party with us on Saturday as the Knicks look to extend their 9-game winning streak to 10 games. That would be the longest winning streak in since Woody, right? Since Woody.
Yes. Since Mike Woodson.
Since Mike Woodson.
By the way, speaking of people, if you're still here, we had 1,000 people watching about 5 minutes ago. Still.
Insane. In a good way. So yeah, T Squared Social starting at 6:30 Saturday night on 42nd Street, down the block from Grand Central. And first 50 guests, free beer. We have a whole we have multiple sections carved out just for us. They're giving away a big game day thing, whatever. Like you go and you have a day at their bar for the big game. That'll be given away. Lots of good stuff. So come hang out with us. Thanks for watching the video. If you're not subscribed, subscribe to the channel. If you like the video, and slam the like button. And then obviously if you're listening on the podcast feed, if the good vibes are still going, leave us a little review or a 5-star rating. We appreciate those. Thanks to everybody for sticking with it. I cannot express my gratitude for tonight, not only for the generous donations through super chats, which are always just like it makes it so that we could do this and then look our wives and family in the face and be like, yeah, we're at least we're contributing, right? We're helping out. But just the generosity of thought and spirit behind people sharing that why this team means something to them and how much it means and the way in which that manifests itself. That is a deeply personal thing. And yet here we all are. And so that's really cool to be able to do. And I appreciate it very much.
2 more, by the way.
Okay. Fred Katz, John, come on my podcast. I think I'm coming on Monday, aren't I?
Monday.
There you go.
And then for me, Fred Katz, Andrew, what are you doing tomorrow at 11 a.m.? Going on your podcast for another mailbag episode. So shout out to Katz and Shoot. Anybody that wants to listen to me and Fred tomorrow, I'm going to try and get him to jump out the window, even though he's not a Knicks fan. But yeah, come join us
Good times
on Fred's podcast.
Have a good night, everybody. Thank you. This was great.